Chapter 8:10. Yi's face turned pale. How could this be? How could this be? Why can even a maid sense that I'm not the real Xiang Yi? The bodyguard also changed his attitude. Miss, please go back. The gentlemen have instructed that you are not to take a single step out of the room. Yi said angrily, remember this, all of you. I won't let you off. She stormed into the ward and slammed the door shut. Her phone buzzed and vibrated non-stop. She opened it to see that it was full of messages she had received from various apps. Imposter. There will be retribution for stealing accounts. We like Sister E, not an AI face changer like you. There were tens of thousands of pieces of news that covered the sky and covered the earth. E threw her phone away, not daring to look at them again. She covered herself with the blanket, trembling all over. In a daze, E realized that perhaps what she would receive from this soul swap would not be a beautiful life, but hell. In the lounge. What? The live stream is fake? Li Jianyu and Ruan Qing played the maid and the chauffeur? Xiang Qi was dumbfounded. Next to him, Xiang Yu was equally dumbfounded. Sangchen and Shi Sui went to the balcony to smoke. Xiang Li really couldn't stand the two of them muttering about snatching the phone, so he took the time to explain to them. Yes, that phone was deliberately left behind by Shi Sui. There's a small program I wrote in it. Every app she sees is no longer the original one. It can only be used within the hospital and is not connected to the internet at all. Xiang Yu asked, in other words, the so-called number of viewers, comments, and gifts, were all written by the program? Xiang Li smiled like a spring breeze, but his words were vicious. It's not difficult to write a fake account, right? No way, right? Is there really someone who can't even do this? Xiang Qi was speechless. Xiang Yu was speechless. I'm still being despised. Xiang Li sighed again. Your IQ is so low. If little uncle were here. I don't dare to think about it. On the side, Xiao Naofu was still typing on the tablet with its little paws as it let out an aggrieved meow. It was too difficult. This group of devils actually made him write down all the details of his transmigration with that stupid woman. His claws were about to break, sob. Hearing this childish cry, Xiang Yu couldn't bear it and wanted to pick up Xiao Naofu to coax it, but was stopped by Xiang Li. The big picture is more important. The most important thing now is to get my sister back as soon as possible. Hearing this, Xiang Yu suppressed his natural instinct for furry animals and stroked Xiao Naofu's head. Good luck, little baby. Xiao Naofu blinked, and its meaty paws began to type faster. Stupid woman, hurry up and come back. This hoo-hoo misses you, meow. Far away in the manor, Xiang Feng sneezed violently. Who's talking about me again? He hugged little Shiji tightly and said with a look of distress, why do you all want me to stay at home? You don't despise me, do you? Little Shiji, woof. Okay. Xiang Feng nodded. Definitely not. They're afraid that I'll be too sad and cry until I faint in front of little Xiangyi's bed. Do you think you can hide this from me? My IQ is online. Little Shiji, okay. As long as you're happy. At the entrance of Fat Bro's shop in Star City. A sea of people was not enough to describe the grand occasion at this moment. Xiangyi sat in a cafe nearby, rubbed her sore wrist, and said calmly, sign a contract? Chapter 8:11. The staff of the Alliance's live stream were all wearing exquisite suits and looked like elites. Miss E, this is our contract. You can take a look first. The optical computer projected a contract, and Xiang Yi skimmed through it. The conditions of the contract were very harsh. She had to broadcast for 8 hours a day, and the content had to be about cooking or food-related content. The commission was only 30% instead of 20%. Xiangyi declined. Sorry, I don't have any intention of signing a contract at the moment. That obviously didn't know how to cook. If the two of them switched, wouldn't be able to fulfill the contract and the fans would be disappointed. Xianxia didn't want to cause trouble for anyone. This was the basic upbringing. The staff looked at each other and revealed an as expected expression. It seemed that this tutu was quite scheming. She knew how to reject the offer. In the past few years, they had fooled many streamers into signing the contract and could only become the workers of the Alliance's live stream. If they went back on their word and didn't want to live stream anymore, they would face huge compensation. They were the best at manipulating newbies. Miss E, don't be in a hurry to reject us. You can have a good chat with us. Are you not satisfied with any of the terms? We can talk about it again. Our Alliance's live stream isn't open to just anyone. If you miss this precious opportunity, you can only live in the slums for the rest of your life. I'm afraid it'll be too late for regrets. The staff were clearly divided into two groups. One was playing the good cop and the other was playing the bad cop. They had the idea of signing Xianxia today. Xianxia expressed her attitude again. Thank you for your hospitality, but I have no intention of making a living from live stream. She was still a tough nut to crack. The staff were a little dissatisfied. They were used to dealing with stupid streamers and had a sense of superiority. Miss E, with your current income, you can only live in the charity house in the slums for the rest of your life. I remember that it's only 12 square meters, right? Don't you want to move to a bigger house or even a villa in the rich district? Miss E, according to your previous live stream data, we have made a prediction for you. As long as you serve us well. In between the lines, other than persuasion, there was also a hidden suppression of Xianxia. This method was a little dirty, but wasn't it fine as long as it worked? Before Xianxia could reply, Brother Fatty had already pushed the door open excitedly. Sorry to disturb you. Today's sales have exploded. Just the flow of water alone has already exceeded 100 million. The mouths of the staff of the Alliance's live stream twitched. I'm sorry. I interrupted your serious business. Fat Bro apologized, but in fact, he didn't feel sorry at all. He sat down next to Xianxia and glanced at the contract. He smiled and said, you guys, why are you using a B-grade contract to trick a little kid? As far as I know, with E's data, not to mention an A-grade contract, even an S-grade contract is enough, right? The staff member knew that he had met someone who knew the ropes and felt a little embarrassed. Data is data. When we sign a contract, we naturally have to consider some indicators, the leader said arrogantly. Yes, you're right. Fat Bro clicked on his optical computer, and another S-grade contract appeared on the screen. He smiled and said, Empire Live couldn't contact E, so they sent the contract to me. Look, what do these letters say? Oh ho, it looks like Ace. Chapter 8:12. Empire's S-level contract? The staff's expression changed. The monopoly formed by the Alliance's live stream was only limited to the Alliance's region. However, now that the Alliance and the Empire were facing the Zerg crisis, they had reached a friendly cooperation. Both sides shared resources. Now, the content of the Empire's live stream could also be watched on the Alliance's interplanetary network. The current data was not very good compared to the Alliance's live stream. However, if the traffic in the Empire's region was included, it was actually terrifying. However, these staff members thought that they were knowledgeable and cared about their reputation. Hence, their attitude was still condescending. Alright, to show our sincerity, we can give you an A-level contract. The projection screen flickered and switched to another contract. The treatment of this contract was indeed better. Xianxia was about to speak, but she was stopped by the Fat Brother with a secret gesture. The Fat Bro shook his head and said, I didn't expect the people from the Alliance's live stream to be so uncultured. S-level contract is 90% and A-level contract is 50%. It seems that your mathematics was taught by sports robots. Then what do you want? Someone couldn't hold it in and sneered. Miss E is a citizen of the Alliance. She can't live in the Empire. How can it be more convenient than signing with the Alliance's live stream? The fat bro was puzzled. What's so inconvenient about this? Star currency is interconnected and resources are shared. The procedures can be done on the photon computer. Isn't it better to make money? These people were furious. Although their superiors had given them an order to give Xianxia an S-level contract, after all, her potential was indeed quite big. However, did these distinguished elites not care about their reputation? No matter how popular a food streamer was, there was still a ceiling. Instead of wasting time on her, it was better to sign a few streamers with high combat power. Let them hunt Zerg endlessly and contribute to the traffic. Thinking of this, their attitude became even more impatient. Miss E, we'll give you one last chance. You should know what to choose. The fat bro said, yo, you don't even need to address me respectfully. S-level contract and A-level contract, of course our E knows what to choose. He just couldn't stand this group of people bullying Xianxia like she was a fool. After all, Xianxia was their store's mascot. The delicious food made by her small hands was even more effective than the manekiniko. The sales of the store increased rapidly. If that's the case, then we have nothing to talk about. However, Miss E, you'd better be mentally prepared. The users of the Empire's live stream are far inferior to our Alliance's live stream. The group of elites walked out arrogantly, but deliberately slowed down their pace. In their hearts, they felt that Xianxia would chase after them. However, not really. The staff members looked at each other with blank expressions. Why was this completely different from what they had imagined? Coffee shop. Bah. They were dressed like humans, but they were all beasts dressed in human clothing. Who are you trying to disgust with a B-grade contract? Fat bro said with disdain. Xianxia said, please calm down. I didn't plan to sign the contract anyway. Brother Fat, don't be in such a hurry to reject them. Empire Livestream is quite sincere and is willing to sign a short contract with you. You can sign it 1 month at a time, and the benefits are also very good. Xianxia pondered for a moment. Can we sign it day by day? Brother Fat? Young lady, you'll get beaten up easily if you do this. Chapter 8:13. Xianxia smiled. I'm just joking. Hey, why don't you talk to the people from Empire Livestream? They're too good. Huh. A moment later. Several staff members from Empire Livestream sat opposite Xianxia. The scene was familiar, but their attitude was completely different. Miss E, this is our contract. Please see if there's anything you're not satisfied with. Other than signing the contract day by day, do you have any other requests? Xianxia was confused. Do you agree? This request was unreasonable no matter which industry it was in. The staff member smiled and said, of course, this isn't a big problem for us. On the contrary, it's our honor to be able to make you sign the contract with us happily. Fat bro muttered, you're quite good at talking. Xianxia weighed the pros and cons and put forward her request. First, sign the contract on a daily basis. Second, don't show my face. Third, if possible, help me block all my scenes on the Star Domain network. Wait a moment, we need to discuss this. Another secretary asked gently, Miss E, I brought coffee beans from Empire. Do you want to try it? Xianxia shook her head and refused, but Fat Bro shamelessly asked for a cup. The secretary made a pot of hand-brewed coffee on the spot. Fat Bro tasted it. Damn, this is too bitter, Xianxia chuckled. The staff members who were discussing were attracted by her smile. The girl's appearance was not the kind that could cause the downfall of a country, but she was very ugly. When she smiled, she had a rare brilliance and beauty in this era. If there was one word to describe it, it would be healing. Soon, they came to a conclusion. Miss E, it will be a little regretful if you don't show your face, but we will respect your request. The first two conditions are fine, but the third one involves the Alliance's video, so we might be a little slow in processing it. Xianxia noticed that they said slow and not can't do it. Empire's strength seemed to be very strong. Both parties confirmed some small details. With Fat Bro around, he naturally wouldn't let Xianxia suffer any losses. Empire livestream also made the biggest concession. It didn't take long for both parties to sign the contract. After tasting Xianxi's barbecue, the atmosphere became even more harmonious. When they left Xianxia with a full set of live streaming equipment. She was treated like a nanny. Fat Bro asked, what are you going to broadcast? I have a friend who feels a little hungry. Xiangyi's eyes curved into crescents. Then what does your friend want to eat? Hee, anything is fine. He's like me. He's not picky. Xiangxia didn't expose him. Instead, she opened the store and prepared to place an order for ingredients. Brother Fatty noticed that the optical computer she was using was an old version. He hurriedly said, I'll give you the latest optical computer. Just treat it as my meal, my friend's meal money. Thank you, but I'll buy it when I have the money. The fat brother did not force her. Instead, he thought highly of the young lady. It was rare for someone from the slums to have such a temperament. What a pity. At this time, a staff member rushed in a panic. Boss, there's a big shot who actually came to our shop to buy an optical computer. Brother Fatty's face was distorted by the bitterness, but he still insisted on drinking that cup of coffee. What's the big deal? It's not like big shots have never come to our shop. It's the commander of the Alliance's fleet, Fu Zichuan. Pfft. Chapter 8:14. Fat Bro spat out coffee on the person's face and stood up. What did you say? Fu Zichuan. Yes, Fat Bro's body swayed. If Xianxia hadn't supported him in time, he would have fallen. This. The optical computer this big shot is using should be the most advanced in the interstellar fleet. It's much more advanced than the latest model on the market. There's no reason for him to buy the optical computer in my shop. Well, Commander Fu doesn't seem to be here for the optical computer. He bought 10 optical computers and ordered 10 portions of barbecue. Fat Bro? 2 minutes later. Fat Bro's legs were trembling. Accompanied by Xianxia, he returned to the entrance of his shop. There was a sea of people rubbing shoulders at the scene, forming a small vacuum area. A few housework robots worked together. Some were in charge of the barbecue, some were in charge of the sauce, and some were in charge of packing. Countless people surrounded Fu Zichuan. It was like a large-scale star-chasing scene. Fu Zichuan lowered his eyes. His expression was as cold as in the Alliance's promotional video. Commander Fu, what brings you here? Fat Bro was like a social butterfly as he smiled and greeted him. It was as if the person whose legs had gone weak just now wasn't him. Xianxia thought to herself that this was probably his passive social talent. Her gaze inadvertently landed on Fu Zichuan, and her body stiffened slightly. He and Shi Sui looked alike. If one wasn't very familiar with them, they would probably think that the two of them were the same person or twins. However, Xianxia quickly calmed down. It wasn't that she hadn't seen people who looked similar. He was him, and Shi Sui was Shi Sui. While she was sizing up Fu Zichuan also looked at her. She had thin arms and legs, an ordinary human female creature. Her combat strength didn't even have half a star. It was just that her eyes were more lively and her temperament made people feel more comfortable. He said calmly, I don't mean to disturb you. My sister wants to eat your barbecue, so I'm here to buy a few portions for her. Fat Bro was such a slick person, so he immediately praised him, such as, Commander Fu dotes on his sister, Commander Fu is too approachable, and so on. When the onlookers heard this, they were extremely excited and began to share this scene on social media. It's a sin to miss the barbecue in this shop. Everyone, come quickly. The ingredients were almost gone. Real-time location, even the commander of the Alliance fleet, Fu Zichuan, said it's a good restaurant. I won't allow my sisters to not have eaten it before. If we take the accelerated hover car now, we might even be able to see Fu Zichuan's divine face up close. As a result, more and more people came to know that today, Fat Bro's shop was giving out free optical computers if you buy barbecue, cough cough, buying optical computers would give out free barbecue. As for Feynman, he was about to faint from crying in front of the shop. F***CKU. Why would a big shot like Fu Zichuan come out to support that damn fatty? He lost his mind and grabbed his hair. Even the terrifying thought of Fu Zichuan and the damn fatty having an affair appeared in his mind. Hello, customer. Your barbecue is packed. Mengmeng's robot handed over the insulated box. To ordinary people, the thermos box was heavy, but Fu Zichuan easily picked it up and nodded. Thank you. Suddenly, a loud sound came from the direction of the Alliance Parliament. The scene was instantly chaotic, and everyone ran frantically in the direction of the shelter. Xiangyi stood rooted to the ground in a daze. Before she could react, her collar was grabbed by a pair of strong hands. I forgot to say, the main text is about to end. Good night, I'm begging for a monthly ticket. Chapter 8:15. Has your intelligence reached the average level? Xiangyi, ? An indifferent male voice entered her ears. This is the sound of a photon cannon. Don't you know to stay in the shelter? Xiangyi was stunned for a moment before she reacted. Wasn't that part of Star City's defensive firepower? Was it used to counterattack when the enemy attacked? Fu Zichuan seemed to have guessed what she was thinking. The enemy might not be outside the city. Xiangyi understood. Internal strife? Seems like you're not hopelessly stupid. Fu Zichuan was expressionless. Thank you, I'll go to the shelter now. However, her collar was grabbed again. She didn't know how strong the other party was, but Xiangyi couldn't break free from him and couldn't move an inch. Can you find it? Xiangyi was about to say that she could just follow the direction of the crowd, but Fu Zichuan didn't give her time to explain and directly threw her into the air. Xiangyi! The expected fall didn't happen. A pair of powerful mechanical arms caught Xiangyi steadily. Xiao Bai, bring her home. Okay, master. Xiangyi turned her face and realized that what caught her was a mecha. Did the Generation Mecha also have self-awareness? However, upon closer inspection, she realized that it was actually a combat robot wearing a mecha. Miss E, sit tight. Xiao Bai used its other arm to touch Xiangyi's head. The cold and hard alloy material had a special touch. Before Xiangyi could reject Fu Zichuan, Xiao Bai had already carried her with one hand and strode towards the Fu family. Xiangyi's hair was messed up by the wind after it ran. Her head was about to fall off. Star City, Central District. This place was still harmonious and stable. The fountain was opened regularly, and the gardener was methodically building the flower branches. It was as if no matter how cruel the war was, there wouldn't be any changes here. Xiao Bai slowed down and tilted its head to size up Xiangyi. The girl's hair was messed up by the wind, and she looked slightly disheveled. There were also a few red marks on her cheeks. Weren't humans as strong as Master? Why was this little guy so weak? Xiangyi's expression didn't change, mainly because she knew that she couldn't beat her opponent with her bare hands. She calmly took out a hairband and tied her hair into a bun. The hairband was furry and had two small bunny ears. It was a small gift that a female customer had forced on her. Little White's yellow mechanical eyes lit up. Xiangyi asked with uncertainty. Do you want it too? Xiao Bai nodded vigorously. Yes, yes. He even deliberately turned off the mech's head device, revealing his face that could be considered handsome among the robots. Xiangyi gestured, not knowing where to start. The robot, it doesn't have any hair. After thinking for a few seconds, Xiangyi said gently, can I tie it on my hand? Xiao Bai, okay. It stretched out its arm, and Xiangyi put the hairband on it. Xiao Bai said happily, thank you, Miss E. Ah, we're here. It stopped, and what came into view was a beautiful villa. A young girl in a pink tea dress was drinking afternoon tea in the courtyard. Seeing that Xiao Bai had actually carried a woman back, she put down her cup angrily. Hey, what's your relationship with my brother? Let me tell you, my brother won't get married casually. My sister-in-law has to be at least as beautiful as the princess of the empire. Here are 5 million star coins. Be sensible and leave my brother. Chapter 8:16. Xiangyi, she coughed lightly. Miss, you misunderstood. What misunderstanding? My brother has never had any relationships with the opposite sex since he was young. How could he have contact with girls? Did you use some scheme? Fu Yunhua stared at Xiangyi warily. You're not sent by the Zergs to seduce my brother, are you? However, not only did this young lady look familiar, but she was also quite good-looking. Fu Yunhua couldn't be said to be obsessed with looks. She was a good-looking person. She had 2 hobbies in her life, delicious food and beautiful women. She usually watched live streams to pass the time when she was bored. When she saw good-looking streamers or delicious food, she would reward them crazily. Xiangyi jumped down from Little White's arm and said uncertainly, I'm considered to be here to seek refuge? Huh? Fu Yunhua looked at her in confusion. Little White hurriedly explained. TSK, so you're an idiot who even found a refuge. Fu Yunhua put her hands on her waist. She had been beaten down by her brother since she was young. Today, she could finally beat someone else. How satisfying was that? All right then, I'll reluctantly let you accompany me for afternoon tea. Xiangyi. Thank you, it's my honor. Since she was here, she might as well take things as they came. Anyway, she couldn't beat her. She could only comfort herself like this. Fu Yunhua flipped her hair and was a little happy. Because of Fu Zichuan's special identity, she didn't have many friends. This was the first time someone had afternoon tea with her. This is the special black tea from planet Anthera. This is the dessert made by a 5-star chef in the Alliance. Humph, don't cry because it's so delicious. Fu Yunhua sounded like a proud young lady, but there was anticipation in her eyes. Eat it. Cry for me. Be shocked by this perfect combination. Tremble. Cry. Xiangyi used a small fork and tasted the dessert first, then paired it with a sip of black tea. She reacted calmly and praised out of politeness, it's delicious. Fu Yunhua, who was looking forward to her crying, was dumbfounded. That's it? That's it? It was the first time she had eaten such a combination. It was so delicious that she cried. This woman, how did she do it? She was actually indifferent? Hey, don't you think it's delicious? Or have you eaten better food before, so you feel that these are mediocre? Fu Yunhua questioned. Xiangyi looked at her innocently. Sorry, everyone's taste is different. I don't like things that are too sweet. I don't usually put so much sugar in my desserts, so I might feel differently from you. Fu Yunhua's eyes lit up. You know how to make desserts? Xiangyi, a little. Then make one of your favorite dishes for me to try. Before she could finish her sentence, Fu Yunhua pushed her into the kitchen. Our kitchen has everything from primitive kitchenware to molecular kitchenware machines to the latest models. Xiangyi, this pair of siblings, their innate ability was to interrupt other people's conversation, right? She sighed. Oh right, are you going to live stream? Fu Yunyue asked. I have an account, and I have over 20,000 fans. I can lend it to you and give you all the star coins I earn. Actually, Fu Yunyue wanted to give Xianxia a reward in disguise. You have to pay for your food. That's a matter of course. Isn't there a civil war now? You can live stream. The sanctuary also has interplanetary networks, okay? Which backward planet did you come from? Don't you know this common knowledge? Chapter 8:17. Xiangyi. I see. She didn't explain anything, but Fu Yunyue had already imagined her pitiful background. For example, she had grown up on a barren planet, she couldn't even afford nutrient solutions and could only roast insects for a living. She hadn't received 12 years of compulsory education, so she didn't even know what the interplanetary network was. The more she looked at it, the more she wanted to transfer money to Xiangyi. #me, a rich woman, how can I transfer money to my beautiful sister? Waiting online, it's urgent. #Xiangyi didn't know that Fu Yunyue was already thinking about how to transfer money as her attention was focused on the layout of the kitchen. The Fu family's kitchen couldn't be described with the word grand. It was no exaggeration to say that it was every chef's dream. Even Xiangyi was a little shocked. However, she returned to normal in an instant and chose a few ordinary but handy kitchen utensils. Thinking of the contract with Empire Livestream, Xiangyi took out the live stream equipment from her bag. It was a camera ball the size of a fingernail. After it was activated, it floated into the air and automatically adjusted its position. Xiangyi gave the camera ball an order not to film her face. Then, she logged into the live stream software. This time, behind the two words, Tutu, there was a conspicuous, Empire Livestream Host, logo. Seeing this scene, Fu Yunyue stuttered. You. Tutu Bunny. You're actually the same person? Xiangyi was curious. Have you watched my live stream? Fu Yunyue. She hadn't just watched it. She was, Yunzhongyue, awe. Fu Yunyue was about to expose her identity when she suddenly remembered her attitude towards Xiangyi in the beginning. Her expression suddenly became very subtle. Ahem, I guess I've watched it. I don't know how to cook, so I won't disturb you. As soon as she finished speaking, she disappeared without a trace. Xiangyi didn't think much of it and opened the live stream. After a simple greeting, she lowered her head and began to focus on making desserts. Almost as soon as she opened the live stream, Empire Livestream began to recommend Xiangyi, and countless viewers instantly flooded in. Oh my god, it's Tutu's live stream. Ah, Tutu is finally streaming again. I've watched the video from last time dozens of times. Today, I saw a video of braised food and barbecued meat taken by a passerby. I heard that the person cooking is also Tutu. Is that true? The live broadcast room was bustling with noise and excitement, especially the netizens from Star City. There was no other reason other than it was too boring in the fallout shelter. Everyone was watching the live broadcast to kill time. As for the internal strife, they would fight every once in a while anyway, so they were already used to it. It just so happened that the office workers could openly slack off in the fallout shelter, and the students could justifiably not do their homework. In the courtyard of the Fu family, Fu Yunyue frowned. What should I do? What should I do? How can I treat Tutu so badly? Little White shook its feet. The system it was equipped with was all for combat. Fu Zichuan didn't install much of a daily chat template for it. Simply put, it was the steel straightener of robots. Apologize to her? How could I possibly lower my head and apologize to someone? Then, should we pretend that nothing happened? How can we do that? I hurt Tutu. Fu Yunyue sobbed twice and suddenly thought of something. Why don't I compensate her with my brother? Little White, no, she can't take a beating. If Master punches her, she'll probably vomit blood. Chapter 8:18. Fu Yunhue was confused. Why did my brother hit her? Xiao Bai suddenly came to a realization. I get it. He wants Miss Yi to hit Master. Immediately afterward, it was puzzled. But with her thin arms and legs, if she punches Master, her arms will probably break. The corners of Fu Yunyue's mouth twitched. Forget it, you don't understand. So why am I chatting with this steel robot? Fu Yunyue lay on the table as the light shone through the lush branches and leaves, sprinkling fine fragments of light. She watched Xiangyi's live stream and couldn't help but swallow her saliva. The desserts that Xiangyi made today were mango pancetta, strawberry snow lady, and mango dew. Every time she made a dessert, Xiangyi would explain the steps in detail. Her explanation was clear and easy to understand, and she would also give the exact dosage. The audience was eager to try, and some even put it into practice. But soon, various scenes of failure appeared. Brain, I know. Hand, you know nothing. I think it's very simple. Why did I fail at the first step of beating the eggs? Oh my God. My batter has turned into charcoal. My mother said that I'm cooking dark cuisine and she's going to kick me out of the house. Cack. Some people also felt that Xiangyi had touched their cake, for example, the Chefs' Association of the Alliance. There were very few delicacies in the interstellar era. Firstly, it was the promotion of nutrient solutions, and secondly, it was the secret operations of the Chefs' Association. First, it was to raise the bar for chefs, so that the public would subtly think that cooking was a skill that could only be mastered by professionals and that ordinary people couldn't learn it at all. Secondly, it was to strictly restrict the circulation of recipes. Ordinary people couldn't come into contact with ingredients and cooking techniques at all. Even if they searched for it, they wouldn't be able to find it on the interstellar network. The most ruthless move was that if a person cooked at home, they would have to pay a so-called pollution fee. This fee was not cheap. Hence, gradually, the public realized that the food they cooked was not delicious and the cost was high. They might as well drink nutrient solutions or go to restaurants outside to eat. The Chefs' Association also rose in status because of this, and they gained supreme honor and status. But now, everything that Xiangyi was doing was challenging the existing rules. How could she just tell him the recipe so casually? If everyone learned how to cook, how could the Chefs' Association make profits? As a result, a large number of fake reviewers flooded into Xiangyi's live broadcast room and accused Xiangyi of something she didn't do. How can a girl who grew up in the slums have such amazing culinary skills? One look and I can tell that he stole it. Stealing is equivalent to plagiarism. Unforgivable. How despicable. It is recommended that Xiangyi be exiled to the original Sin planet immediately. Have you guys heard? She knew how to cook because she had stolen the life work of a 5-star chef. It's worse than stealing children. The atmosphere in the live broadcast room instantly turned foul. The Chefs' Association was complacent. She was just a new streamer. How could they not teach her a lesson? But to Fu Yunhue, this was simply coming to life. She, who had nothing but money, crazily sent Xiangyi gifts. He had single-handedly suppressed all the comments. On this day, news of Cloud Moon's terrifying wealth and hand speed spread throughout the interplanetary network, and everyone knew about it. Okay, it's done. I'll turn off the live broadcast then. Xiangyi didn't even look at the comments and directly turned off the live broadcast. She went out with the desserts and found Fu Yunhue waiting at the door, clenching her fists tightly. 10 million star coins, please be with my brother. Please. Chapter 8:19. Xiangyi was speechless. Sister, you were the one who said, leave my brother for 5 million star coins, right? Why did you change your mind so quickly? Ms. Fu, stop joking, Xiangyi said helplessly. Let's try the dessert first. Oh, okay, okay. In the courtyard. Xiangyi placed the tray on the table and Fu Yunhua sat down eagerly. Although she had already tried a lot of desserts through the shared five senses during the live stream, however, how could virtual data be as delicious as real food? Fu Yunhua picked up a small fork and cut a piece of mango pancake. The yellow pancake skin was wrapped in white cream and fresh mango. It was embellished with green mint leaves, outlining beautiful colors. When it entered her mouth, the sweet taste of mango, smooth cream, and thin pancake skin formed layers of soft and sticky texture. Delicious. Fu Yunyue's eyes lit up. She finished the mango pancake in a few bites and threw away the fork. She picked up a strawberry and bit off half of it. The first bite was the Snow Empress's QQ popsicle skin. It was white and soft, with a whole strawberry and cream in the middle. At this moment, sourness and sweetness reached a perfect balance. This is delicious too. Fu Yunhua picked up the small bowl of mango dew and gulped it down. The cooked sago mixed with mango pieces, coconut juice, milk, and finally grapefruit. It tasted sweet and refreshing, completely conquering Fu Yunyue's taste buds. Sob sob sob, it's too delicious. Fu Yunhua sobbed and couldn't stop eating. In just a few minutes, she finished the desserts prepared by Xiangyi for 2 people. Xiangyi asked considerately, "There are a few more in the fridge. Do you want to eat?" Fu Yunhua let out a small burp. With a wail, she actually burst into tears. Xiangyi was stunned. Little Bai was also stunned. The woman and the machine looked at Fu Yunhua in a daze. Fu Yunhua sobbed. "It's really too delicious. I've never eaten such delicious desserts." So that was how it was. Xiangyi said warmly, "If you like it, I'll write down the recipe for you. If you want to eat it later, you can ask the chef to make it for you, or you can try cooking it yourself." "But, isn't it very difficult to cook?" Fu Yunhua asked in confusion. She had been taught this way of thinking since she was young, and she couldn't change it for the time being. Xiangyi said, "It's not difficult if you like him." Only then did Fu Yunhua realize that she had finished all the desserts on the table. She scratched her head and asked carefully, "Well, are you really not interested in my brother? Although he's a little ugly, a little fierce, and a little cold, he's super good at beating up Zerg beasts. He can even earn a lot of money back." Of course, she didn't want Xiangyi to be her sister-in-law because of food. Absolutely not. Xiangyi replied seriously, "I have someone I like." "Huh? Is he also from Star City?" Thinking of Shui, Xiangyi was absent-minded for a moment. "He's somewhere very far away." But in the blink of an eye, the girl regained her determination. "He's waiting for me to come home." Fu Yunhua muttered in her heart, a long-distance relationship. Then her brother might still have a chance. At the door, a figure stained with blood stopped in his tracks. On the interplanetary network, no matter how the people of the Chefs Association tried to smear her, the recipes of the desserts made by Xiangyi still spread at an unstoppable speed. It swept the entire network. After trying, many people found that making delicious desserts was actually so easy. Chapter 820. The thing that the Chefs Association was most worried about had happened. The voices of doubt were like rolling snowballs, accumulating to the point where they could cover the sky and earth. The Chefs Association held an emergency meeting to discuss how to turn the situation around. If they couldn't solve the problem, they would first solve the source of the problem, Tutu, the streamer. After this live broadcast, the number of fans on this account had increased by another wave. If she continued to develop like this, the consequences would be unimaginable. At the door, Fu Zichuan was full of vigor. When he heard the conversation between the two of them, he stopped in his tracks. Someone she liked? For some reason, he was a little curious. What kind of man would this girl like? "Brother, why are you back?" Fu Yunhua saw him and was more frightened than surprised. There's no food in the fridge. There's really nothing. The moment she opened her mouth, she was already a self-deceiver. Fu Zichuan's mouth twitched in the face of his sister's stupidity. Fu Yunyue coughed. Brother, are you all right? Ah, why are you covered in blood? The little girl's eyes were filled with anxiety. She lifted her skirt and rushed in front of him, wanting to check his injuries. Fu Zichuan moved a step to the side without a trace. Don't worry, it's not my blood. I'll go wash it first. His gaze fell on Xiangyi. He nodded slightly in greeting, and the latter returned a polite smile. After Fu Zichuan took care of himself, he saw two girls in the courtyard through the window. They were chattering and ordering Xiao Bai to make a hammock. Xiao Bai was a combat robot. At some point, it had put on a rabbit ear headband that was the same as the two girls, and a red bow was tied around its neck. He couldn't bear to look at it. Fu Zichuan held his forehead and sighed. He strode into the courtyard. Brother. Fu Yunyue saw him come out and chuckled. Brother, you have another headband. Fu Zichuan was expressionless. I don't wear such childish things. Tutu taught me to make this. Don't you think it's cute? Fu Zichuan was in a daze for a moment. There were two rabbit ears on his head, however, the two girls' ears were white powder, and his was gray powder. Fu Yunyue didn't expect that she would really succeed. While she was shocked, she quickly took many photos secretly. However, as she took photos, she realized, her big brother had been staring at Tutu. Oh! There was a situation. Fu Yunyue rubbed her small hands excitedly. Big brother, let's go. Quickly get Bunny in your hands. Xiangyi lowered her head and replied to Brother Fatty's message. Brother Fatty apologized to her and said that he had left her behind to run to the shelter because he was in a hurry. Xiangyi didn't think much of it. Brother Fatty had no obligation to help her in the first place, let alone when it was a matter of safety. After a few simple replies, Xiangyi turned off her optical computer and was about to bid farewell to the Fu siblings when a tall figure suddenly appeared in front of her. Fu Zichuan. Even though he looked similar to Shi Sui, Xiangyi's heart did not waver. Shi Sui was Shi Sui. She was different from anyone else in this world. Mr. Fu, thank you so much for saving me today. Fu Yunyue secretly thought of the couple at the side and thought of the retro idol dramas that had recently become popular. Every time the female lead said this sentence, the male lead would smile wickedly and say, "Woman, then repay me with your body." Or, "Little thing, call me big brother, and I'll give you my life." However, her brother displayed a straight man attribute that was no less than Xiao Bai, a steel robot. It's a pity that you don't use your hands to practice mecha. Chapter 821. Fu Zichuan's logic was simple. He had watched the video of Xiangyi cooking. Her hands were especially nimble, her strength was good, and her reaction was fast. More practice would give her an advantage in mecha combat. Fu Yunyue, who was waiting at the side, was speechless. Brother, my dear brother. Can you be any more straight? Xiangyi's expression was normal. Well, thank you for the recommendation. I will consider buying it in the future. Fu Zichuan was speechless. He wanted to say that he would give her one, but he felt that it was too abrupt. His Adam's apple bobbed. He was already a man of few words, so he didn't know what to say. Fu Yunyue was about to die of anxiety. Seeing that Xiangyi was about to leave, she hurriedly pushed her elder brother. Brother, the civil strife is over, but we can't let our guard down. The city may not be safe. Send Tutu back. Xiangyi declined politely, but she couldn't win against Fu Yunyue's coquettish behavior. She even rolled on the ground, so she had no choice but to agree. On the hover car back. Xiangyi didn't talk to Fu Zichuan except for a few words with Xiao Bai. If Fu Yunyue saw this scene, she would be very disappointed. After sending Xiangyi to the slums, the girl jumped out of the car lightly and waved at Fu Zichuan. Goodbye. She said goodbye, but he didn't feel that she wanted to see him again. Fu Zichuan's thin lips moved as if he wanted to say something, but in the end, he just remained silent. Something was wrong. Something was wrong with him. What was this strange and strong feeling? He couldn't deny that this girl had a mysterious attraction to him. After giving Xiao Bai a few instructions, the combat robot switched to invisible mode and followed Xiangyi to protect her. South City. Xiao Naofu was so tired that it collapsed into a cat biscuit. Xiangyu rubbed its meaty paws with heartache. Little baby, it won't hurt anymore after I blow on it. Huff, huff, meow meow meow. Xiao Naofu rubbed against his abdominal muscles aggrievedly and continued to lie down. Everyone had read the message it typed several times. The atmosphere was tense. It turned out that Xiangyi had traveled through so many worlds. She had once been injured, bled, and was on the brink of death. She had also been betrayed by her most trusted friend, and she had watched as someone close to her passed away. Just the thought of it made his heart ache. However, she had experienced it again and again. If it wasn't for the fact that she was determined to go home, her soul might have completely disappeared from this world. This is so infuriating. Why is it that the little rabbit has to bear everything it should bear? Xiang Qi clenched his fists. He even had the urge to kill someone. Xiang Li knocked on the table. His genius brain worked quickly and quickly came to a conclusion. Firstly, this main system should have existed for a very, very long time. Just like a mainframe, the longer it runs, the more problems and loopholes there will be. Secondly, Yi's world has technology that is ahead of ours. To a certain extent, they should have mastered the technology of time travel, space jump, and so on. Thirdly, to them, transmigrating to another world is no longer a difficult task. The transmigration system was discovered by them and was also broken by them. The rules that originally restricted people were successfully reversed and used various methods to escape the transmigration. Xiang Qi became anxious. How are you going to save my sister if you talk so much? Find the main system? But how can there be such a coincidence that we can find the system, or find the person who transmigrated? Shi Sui rubbed his eyebrows. Okay. Everyone looked at him in unison. Shi Sui only said one name. Xiang Feng. Huh? Little uncle? Chapter 822. What Shi Sui said next stunned everyone in the room. In the past year, I've met more than one fast transmigrator, and their goal was all, Xiang Feng. At first, Shi Sui only felt that something was strange. Why would all kinds of girls appear around Xiang Feng? Whether it was an ordinary Cinderella, a socialite, a rich beauty, a starlet in the entertainment industry, a top scholar from a famous university, or an elite in the business circle, without exception, they would all, coincidentally, meet Xiang Feng in different ways and fall deeply in love with him. Perhaps in the eyes of ordinary people, this was because of Xiang Feng's appearance and wealth, but this didn't make sense. How could an ordinary girl accurately grasp Xiang Feng's itinerary? Why would a person who originally had a deep love be so devoted to him after just one meeting? What was even more inconceivable were the people who couldn't find any traces of the first half of their lives, as if they had appeared out of thin air in this world. Xiang Feng was carefree and didn't feel much about this. He drove away one girl after another in anger. Then, Shi Sui discovered that soon after, there were also men who pursued Xiang Feng. Their methods were similar. After finding out Xiang Feng's itinerary, they approached him with all kinds of reasonable and unreasonable identities. Without any reason or basis, they fell in love with him. Shi Sui concluded and guessed that they were all transmigrators from another world. Perhaps they were here to complete the mission. It wasn't until Xiangyi's return that he was completely convinced of his guess. Half an hour later, Xiang Feng sped all the way to the hospital. Shui and the others were waiting for him in the parking lot. Little Xiangyi, is there no hope? As soon as the group spoke, it was obvious whether it was true or not. Xiang Feng's eyes were brimming with tears. Did you guys ask me to see her for the last time? Shui, the Xiang brothers, Sangchen began to roll up his sleeves, and the others silently walked away. 2 minutes later. Xiang Feng didn't know how horribly he had been ravaged by the Demon King. He was completely terrified, and he was a perfect example of following one's heart. Are there any strange people around you? No, I think they're all quite normal. Fortunately, everyone had already made preparations. Both the open and covert forces were investigating the people Xiang Feng had been in contact with recently. Then, according to the patterns Shui had summarized, they began to eliminate them one by one. He busied himself until the wee hours of the morning, but to no avail. Xiang Yu hugged Xiao Naofu and frowned. There really isn't anyone strange. Qin Wanyan is the last one. After that, the clues seemed to have been cut off. Xiang Qi was puzzled. Assistant, subordinate, business partner, cafe owner. Even the cleaning auntie is excluded. Could it be that Brother Shi's thinking is wrong? Xiang Li shook his head. No, it shouldn't be a problem. We might be the ones at fault. Maybe we shouldn't limit ourselves to adults. Let's see if any children approached him. Sangchen's sharp eyes locked onto Shui. You seem to have an answer. Shui gave a faint as her gaze fell on Xiang Feng, who was standing in the corner with a confused look on his face. Xiang Feng, who am I? Where am I? What are they talking about? What system? Are all of you acting as me? Shui asked, where's the dog? Xiang Feng subconsciously said, isn't it you? Everyone silently walked further away. This time, Xiang Feng howled even louder than before, hey! Little Shiji, wasn't it with Xiao Naofu just now? Chapter 823. Only then did everyone notice that Xiao Naofu and little Shiji, who were still fooling around with each other just now, had disappeared. Why is the dog gone? Is the cat gone too? Xiang Feng asked with a dumbfounded expression. But this also means that little Shiji must know something. Yi was about to go crazy. She had never thought that she would end up like this after changing her soul this time. In the past year, although Sangchen had put various restrictions on her, the other members of the Xiang family had treated her well. In particular, that damned old man and old woman, as well as that idiot Xiang Feng. She had an endless amount of pocket money and could enjoy all the things that she couldn't get in the interstellar world. Clothes, jewelry, bags, love, attention. Besides, Nan coaxed her every day and showed her positive comments. Yi felt very good about herself and felt that she was very popular here. She was also living a life of admiration. However, she didn't expect that she would be beaten back to her original state and even fall into a quagmire. On her cell phone, she received endless messages about cyberviolence. In reality, even the maids who delivered water and food mocked her. The mental torture almost made her break down. However, Yi soon thought of a way to get out of the current situation. Bang, she smashed the vase, picked up a fragment, and slashed her arm. A shallow wound appeared on her delicate, porcelain-like skin, and blood seeped out. Yi endured the pain and wanted to make another cut, but the door had already been kicked open by the bodyguards, who immediately snatched the fragment from her hand. Ha ha ha, you guys really care about her. Yi didn't know if it was because of the pain or because she was laughing, but tears streamed down her face. I'm telling you, if you don't treat me better, I'll destroy her body. Star City. Beep beep, cracking complete. Xiangyi used the income from the live stream to buy a new optical computer. The modified cracking program worked and successfully restored some of the information on Yi's optical computer. Xiangyi took a deep breath and began browsing. Yi's optical computer was usually used for watching live streams, watching variety shows, shopping, and taking selfies. However, Xianxia still found something valuable in the massive garbage records. Alternate World Transmigration Forum. Xianxia spent a few hours and finally figured out some key information. This world belonged to a higher plane. Traveling through time and space had become a reality. Therefore, the so-called fast travel system was not a rare thing for the people here. The elites of this world had established the Otherworld Transmigration Forum. The original intention was to become a truly free organization. For example, if someone wanted to quickly transmigrate but wasn't selected, or if someone didn't want to quickly transmigrate and wanted to avoid the mission, then the two of them could make a deal and pay a certain price to the administrators of the forum to complete the exchange. Unfortunately, now, this forum had deviated from the original intention of its creator. The exchange had changed from a consensual agreement to an unknown coercion. Xianxia was the one who had been cheated. For the sake of caution, she did not directly contact any of the managers. Instead, she first browsed through the so-called price. Star coins, skill cards, plain energy, these terms were reflected in her eyes. Vaguely, she thought of a possibility. This Otherworld Transmigration Forum seemed to have been created. Another system, a dragon slayer, would eventually become an evil dragon. Xianxia felt a chill run down her spine. Chapter 824. After closing the forum and clearing her browsing history, Xianxia made up her mind. She had to go home, but it had to be safe. It would be best if she could find a way to contact Ling Yi. A thought flashed through her mind. Will Ling Ye's Rebels Alliance become a dragon slayer? She laughed self-deprecatingly. Who knows what will happen in the future? Xianxi's brain was exhausted to the extreme, and all she wanted to do now was to have a good sleep. However, her optical computer was flashing wildly, indicating that she had a new message. Xianxia tapped on it and raised her eyebrows. In summary, the text message was, "The Chefs Association is going to put me on trial?" Without giving her a chance to react, a video call popped up. It was actually a live broadcast. If she hung up, she didn't know how the Chefs Association would make a fuss about it. Xianxia clicked yes, but she set the camera angle to block her face. The Chefs Association's live broadcast was originally very popular, and now that the Alliance's live broadcast had also joined in, the traffic had reached a record high. The president of the Chefs Association was about 60 years old. He had white hair and was hale and hearty. "Missy, I'm sure you're already clear about the charges we're going to put you on." "Sorry, I'm not sure." Xianxia took the initiative to interrupt him. The president's expression was serious. "You stole our 5-star chef's recipe. Today, you have to give us an explanation." Xianxia said, "Oh." The girl's calm reaction made the Chefs Association seem like a villain. The viewers in the live stream also thought so. "I don't care, I just like tutu." The Chefs Association has always banned the circulation of recipes, but tutu has allowed more people to enjoy delicious food. I'm definitely on tutu's side. To be honest, the Chefs Association has no legislative or judicial power. What right do they have to put tutu on trial? Isn't this an abuse of power? The president of the Chefs Association had a microchip in his ear. When he heard the real-time comments summarized by his assistant, he knew what was going on and softened his tone. "As far as I know, you're just an ordinary person in the slums who relies on relief money to survive, and you haven't received any education to become a chef. However, in your live stream, you've made several dishes that can only be made by 3-star chefs and above. Where did you get the recipe from? And where did he learn such cooking skills? Coincidentally, we have a 5-star chef who lost his painstaking notes. The recipe is exactly the same as the one you made in the live broadcast room." As he spoke, he showed everyone a few photos. They were the first few pages of the notes that the 5-star chef had taken. Scrambled eggs with tomatoes, sandwiches, mango pancakes, it was actually exactly the same. The president grasped everyone's thoughts and said, I heard that you have a record of theft. The live stream was in an uproar. This Tutu is a thief? To think I trusted her so much. Turns out she stole the recipe. Tui. It's ridiculous to know how to cook without any culinary education. Who in the interstellar era didn't know that ordinary people couldn't cook? Cooking is even harder than piloting a starship and mecha. The audience was indignant, and the people of the Chefs Association were confident. Xianxia asked calmly, "Is that so? I thought that cooking was something that everyone was born with." This point of view was too shocking and difficult to accept. How many recipes are there in the notes? Xianxia said modestly, "I only know a little about cooking, but we can cook at the same time and see if our recipes and cooking techniques are the same. What do you think?" Chapter 825. The president of the Chefs Association was speechless. Xianxia made a sound of surprise. "Didn't you say that I stole his painstaking efforts? Even if I can't remember every dish clearly, I can at least remember it roughly, right? Or, are you deliberately leading the conversation and lying to slander me?" Nonsense. How can we, the Chefs Association, threaten a thief from the slums? Xianxia said coldly, "It's not up to me to decide one's background. What's more, the Alliance's law stipulates that all citizens of the anti-alliance member states are born free and equal. So you think that the poor and the rich are two different classes? Are there high and low classes?" The president was speechless. How could he answer that? Of course, the poor and the rich couldn't be compared. But, he couldn't say that, or he would definitely be scolded to death. "Little girl, you have a sharp tongue." An old female voice spoke. It was the vice president of the Chefs Association. She was wearing a light-colored knitted suit and looked like a kind old granny without any lethality. However, as soon as she opened her mouth, the situation was reversed. "If you didn't steal, how did you master the cooking skills?" For the people in this interstellar plane, it was impossible to learn cooking without being taught. This was what everyone had always known since they were young. Xianxi's response was very simple. "As I said, I think cooking is a kind of talent. It can also be said that it is a kind of forgotten knowledge. As long as people practice, they can recall it." Crazy talk. A senior of the Chefs Association couldn't help but blurt out. Xianxia said indifferently, "May I ask that five-star chef, how many dishes are in his notes? Are you afraid to compete with me?" "Oh, of course, I don't want to compete with a thief like you." Xianxia chuckled, "If that's the case, then I have nothing to say to you." She pretended to turn off the live broadcast, but the people of the Chefs Association hurriedly said, "Since it's your first offense, as long as you return the notes and never cook the dishes on the menu again, our Chefs Association can be magnanimous and not argue with you." Xianxia only felt that it was funny. Was he trying to get the recipe without risking anything? The people of the Chefs Association thought that they were very smart. Anyway, they didn't mention the specific number of dishes in the notes. In the future, no matter what dishes Xianxia cooked, they would just say that Xianxia stole the notes. Wasn't it easy for them to control public opinion? However, the screen of the video call went black. Xianxia hung up the call. Everyone. Soon, Xianxia started her own live stream. In the kitchen, she had bought some new kitchen utensils and ingredients. It was enough to make some home-cooked dishes. "Today, I will teach you how to cook 100 dishes." Xianxia put on her apron as she continued to place orders with her voice. "From today onwards, I will cook 100 dishes every time I do a live stream, until I stop doing live streams." The Chefs Association sent a video call to her in a hurry. Xianxia directly blacklisted the account and set the Do Not Disturb mode. The audience watching all this, is Tutu so stubborn? What's the big deal? The 100 dishes are all stolen recipes. That. Whether she stole it or not, at least we can use her cooking live stream as an educational video. 100 recipes would be leaked every day. It meant that countless people would learn to cook. The people of the Chefs Association were completely panicking. Wait. Let's talk about it. Chapter 826. They wanted to contact her, but she had actually set the Do Not Disturb mode. No, you little girl, why don't you play by the rules? Do you have any culinary ethics? In fact, Xiangyi couldn't be bothered to talk nonsense with them. If she followed their logic, even if she won the competition and made a dish different from the other parties, the other party could also say, "Ah, you stole more than one chef's notes. You stole a lot of them." That would only lead to an endless quagmire of self-proof, which wouldn't solve the problem at all. Xiangyi chose another way: since I can't prove myself, then I won't. The Chefs Association was most afraid of recipes being made public. Her 100 dishes a day was the best counterattack. Then, let's start with simple home-cooked dishes. If you live alone, you can make some porridge with 2 stir-fried dishes for dinner. The girl's voice was gentle, and she deliberately slowed down her speech so that people could hear her more clearly. At first, the Chefs Association had arranged for the Internet Water Army to spam keywords such as stealing and plagiarism, but they were soon flooded by enthusiastic netizens. There was no other reason, but there were many foodies. Nutrient solutions were anti-human things, but they were only eaten for survival. Tasting delicious food was human nature. The Empire livestream was willing to recommend it, and there were many bored netizens watching the show, so the traffic of the livestream soared. The first dish, the second dish, the third dish, from home-cooked stir-fry to various cold dishes, and then to various difficult dishes, the girl was not only extremely skilled in making each dish, but she was also very fast at cooking. Her overall management of time was amazing, and she could often take care of several dishes at the same time without showing any panic. She's using double speed? She must be using double speed. Oh my god, Tutu's reaction speed is too fast. I feel that she would be very good in other industries. I'm kneeling to the big boss. Doesn't the Chefs Association's face hurt? Let's not talk about anything else. Can your 5-star chef do it so fast? The people of the Chefs Association pretended to be dead on the surface, but they were suffering in their hearts. They really couldn't. 5-star chefs made high-end dishes, and it was normal for them to spend several hours on a dish. For someone like Xiangyi to make 10 to 20 dishes in an hour, what a freak. Seeing the recipes being streamed out along with the live broadcast, the people of the Chefs Association couldn't help but send people to the vicinity of Xiangyi's residence. No matter what, they had to stop Xiangyi's live broadcast. Even if he had to resort to unscrupulous means. However, before the hired bounty hunters could even get close, they were taught a lesson by Little White who descended from the sky. In a matter of minutes, he had changed from being unscrupulous to not breaking his hand. When the people of the Chefs Association received the news, they were secretly shocked. Battle robots, wearable mechs, these were all existences that belonged to big shots. Why would he protect a little girl from the slums? No, something's wrong. Before they had the time to ask their men to retreat, a small starship hovered above Xiangyi's residence precisely. The starship did not turn on the optical stealth mode, and the huge water droplet logo was reflected in everyone's eyes. That was the symbol of the Alliance commander, Fu Zichuan. 6 hours later. Xiangyi rubbed her wrist, which was in so much pain that she almost couldn't raise it. The last dish is ready. Someone will send it over now. In the live broadcast room, the viewers who had been selected were jubilant, as if they were celebrating the new year. The viewers who didn't get selected had subtly changed a little. Cooking. I feel like I can do it too. Chapter 827. Many people felt the same way. They felt that what Xiangyi said was very reasonable. Cooking was probably a talent that every human had. It was just that they had forgotten it after birth. As long as they learned it, they could recover their memories. On this day, the sales of kitchenware and ingredients in the Interstellar Mall increased greatly. Originally, only the people from the Chefs' Association would buy these things. After so many years, even if the suppliers knew the inside story, they tacitly agreed with what the Chefs' Association had done. In any case, they did not have much sales to begin with. However, once they realized that they could make money and that there was a huge profit to be made, the attitude of these suppliers changed instantly. They stood up one by one, criticized the Chefs' Association for its schemes, defended the interests of every citizen in the alliance, and vigorously promoted that cooking was something that anyone could learn as long as they bought good kitchenware and ingredients. The reputation of the Chefs' Association fell to the lowest point since its establishment. After Xianxia finished her lucky draw, she turned off the live stream and fell asleep as soon as her head hit the pillow. It had been a long time since she was so tired. She fell into a deep sleep. On the roof, the starship did not leave but turned on its stealth mode. Whitey was squatting in a hidden corner, poking the hair ring that Xianxia gave it from time to time. After sleeping for a long time, Xianxia heard an anxious and familiar voice calling her. "Sister, are you okay?" Xianxia gradually woke up and found herself in the sea of consciousness. In front of her was the figure of a young man who had transformed from data into a human figure. Ling Yi. Xianxia was a little surprised. "How did you find me?" Ling Yi smiled bitterly. "I already know that you and Yi have swapped souls. I'm sorry, sister. I didn't protect you well." Xiang said in a warm voice, "I can't blame you for this. Do you know any way to get the two of us back?" Ling Yi was silent for a few seconds. "Sorry, I don't know." "Then I'll think of another way." How did you?" The young man in front of her had a few scratches on his face. The parts that were covered by his clothes seemed to be injured as well. "It's just a program." "How could it be injured?" Ling Yi said casually. "I accidentally bumped into the main system and was attacked. It will take some time for the program to repair itself." Seeing that he didn't want to say more, Xianxia didn't ask any more. Ling Yi smiled and said, "Sister, don't be afraid. Now that I'm here, no one in this world can bully you. That lousy Chefs' Association made you unhappy, didn't it? Don't worry, I'll definitely make them pay you back 10 times or even 100 times. Xianxia was absent-minded and didn't listen at all. Suddenly, a pair of hands appeared above her head. It was Ling Yi. "Sister, do you want to go home that badly? Is this world not good? It's a high-leveled civilization with advanced technology. Sister hasn't been here for long, but she's already so popular. Even if she can't go back, she can still live happily here." Xianxia looked at him with clear eyes. "Because someone is waiting for me." Ling Yi smiled but did not reply. "By the way, do you know about the alternate world transmigration forum? I wonder if it's reliable to exchange souls with them." Xianxia casually mentioned. Ling Yi blinked. The youth's eyes were dark and gloomy. "I'm not too sure." Fu Zichuan received a message that was sent directly to his optical computer. The Alliance's safety net seemed to exist in name only. After browsing a few lines of information, his eyebrows furrowed deeply. That night, the administrators of the Alternate World Transmigration Forum were all arrested. The Alliance issued a decree that very night, banning the use of shuttles that were not for scientific research purposes. Chapter 828. The Otherworldly Transmigration Forum was also banned. When Xianxia woke up, she saw the news that had been pushed all over the internet. She was dumbfounded. Ling Yi connected his program to the housework robot and scurried over. "Sister, you don't look too good. That forum has been banned," Xianxia said with a complicated mix of emotions. The news said that Fu Zichuan personally led the team and didn't even let Administrator 001 off. How did that happen?" Ling Yi asked meekly as he nestled beside her calf. "What about you, sister?" Xianxia hugged her knees and said in confusion, "I don't know either." She rarely showed such a helpless expression, but this time, it was really different. All her paths home seemed to have been blocked. She even began to regret hesitating yesterday. If she had contacted the administrator at that time, she might have been swapped back today. Ling Yi comforted her, "Sis, don't take it too hard. Look, the news also said that those administrators aren't 100% successful. Half of them died an unnatural death and their souls disappeared from this world without a trace. That is really bold to have the guts to swap twice." Xiangyi said, "But there's still a 50% chance of success." Ling Yi thought to himself, "Take it slow, there's no hurry." He would let her slowly wear away all her expectations and hopes. In that case, he would be the only one left in her world. "No matter what, I will always be by your side, sister," Ling Yi said in an extremely gentle tone. In Nansheng, little Shiji held Xiao Naofu in his mouth and ran far away from the hospital, displaying a physical strength that was far beyond that of a Shiba Inu. However, it was still caught. Xiang Yu held the kitten in his arms and doted on it. However, little Shiji was locked in a cage and interrogated on the spot. The men of the Xiang family and Shui were all more than 185 centimeters tall, and their long legs were pleasing to the eye. However, in little Shiji's eyes, they looked like evil forces. "Are you a fast transmigrator? Or the system?" Even though it was mentally prepared, little Shiji's pupils still trembled. However, it didn't plan to say anything. It would never give in to these evil forces. "You're not going to say anything? Take her to be sterilized," Shui said indifferently. Little Shiji comforted himself while bearing with the humiliation. Wasn't it just sterilization? It didn't care. In the next second, Shui's gaze fell on Xiang Yu's arms. "Take Xiao Naofu to be sterilized." "Xiao Naofu, meow meow meow. Be a human, sure go." Little Shiji barked, "Woof woof. Dog man, come at me if you have the guts." Shui took out a cigarette and lit it up. The scarlet flame illuminated his handsome face. During Xiao Naofu's surgery, let little Shiji watch from the side. Little Shiji barked, "Woof woof woof. Too ruthless, this D*MN man is too ruthless." A few minutes later. It was as if the scene was repeating itself. Little Shiji typed on the tablet with great difficulty. Little Shiji was indeed a fast transmigrator and his mission was to assist Xiang Feng in gaining love. This was also its final plane. Once it was done, it would be able to transcend. I know about Ling Ye's existence. He was the one who took this world offline from the main system and made it stand alone. The main system can get everything back on track, but I can't contact the main system in this world now. There's nothing I can do. Unless Ling Yi reconnects this world to the main system. However, if he does that, he'll probably be erased by the main system. Miss Xiangyi may never come back. Chapter 829. It was already late at night and there was only a dilapidated street lamp at the entrance of the alley that was emitting a dim yellow light. The surrounding temperature seemed to have dropped by a few degrees. Shui and Sengchen had been smoking non-stop. Little Shiji was released and wanted to lick Xiao Naofu, but Xiao Naofu dodged. "Meow meow meow. Atrocious. How dare you lie to me?" Little Shiji was helpless. It just didn't want to get into trouble, so it carefully hid its identity as a fast transmigrator. That was its bottom line. Well, Xiao Naofu is too cute. Hence, its bottom line was lowered again and again because of this stupid cat. However, little Shiji's heart softened again when it saw how depressed Xiao Naofu was and how its ears were drooping. It returned to the side of the cage and threw the tablet on the ground, but no one cared about it. Little Shiji typed a line of words on it with its paw. "I have an idea, but I can't guarantee that it will work." Xiang Li frowned. "Tell me about it." Every bubble world has its own protagonist, and his will is the will of the world. This world is derived from a book, and the male protagonist in the book is Shui, but the male protagonist of this world is actually Xiang Feng. The reason why this bubble world was created is because he wants to get out of singlehood. So, when this goal is achieved, the will of the world will be at its strongest, and it might be able to break the shield set by Ling Yi. Xiang Feng was dumbfounded. Me? Me? I'm actually the male protagonist? How is that possible? So, according to you, the solution to the problem is to get me married. Little Shiji silently deleted the words, "Love works too," and calmly added the word, "okay," with his paw. According to the estimation, if it was dating, it could get an A-level mission evaluation. If it got married, it should be able to get an S-level mission evaluation. Anyway, it had nowhere to go. When the time came, it would just stay in this world to protect Xiao Naofu. Xiang Li pondered for a moment and said, "Let's give it a try. The end of science is philosophy, and the end of philosophy is theology." Even if he was a genius, he wouldn't be able to solve all problems. However, he wasn't willing to give up even the slightest bit of hope when it came to his sister. Xiang Qi, yes, yes, yes. Let's give it a try. Xiang Yu, anyway, even if my sister doesn't come back, there's nothing to lose. Xiang Feng stomped his feet. How is there no loss? What I want is a perfect love, not some random marriage. Not. The cold and decisive voice naturally came from the great demon king. Xiang Feng immediately backed down. Then let's get married. The problem is, where are we going to find someone to marry? You can't just stop a random girl on the street and shout that you want to marry her. Shi Sui puffed out a smoke ring, which covered her eyes and eyebrows. She said in an indifferent tone, "Is there a rule that states that I must marry a girl?" Little Shiji hesitated for a moment before typing. No. Xiang Feng was shocked. You're not going to sacrifice yourself to marry me, are you? There's no need for that. Shi Sui, the brothers of the Xiang family, little uncle, you should reflect on why Tutu is loved by everyone while you're bullied by everyone. There's a reason for all of this. Shi Sui picked up little Shiji, after which a look of horror appeared on the chubby Shiba Inu's face. She said indifferently, "I'll give you a chance to redeem yourself." Little Shiji? Xiang Feng? Chapter 830. The little Shiba Inu barked angrily. Woof woof woof. Impossible. Absolutely impossible. My chastity must not be ruined. Shi Sui raised her eyebrows. You don't agree? Xiao Naofu will do it then. Xiao Naofu was dumbfounded. What are you doing? Little Shiji's pupils dilated. Woof. No. Looking at the adorable kitten snuggled up in Xiang Yu's arms, little Shiji closed his eyes. Forget it. If I don't go to hell, who will? If I don't marry Xiang Yu, who will? It barked aggrievedly, indicating that it would be better to let Xiang Yu do it. Xiang Yu immediately said, "I'll go make an appointment at the church right away." Xiang Qi made an "okay" gesture and said, "Leave the gown to me, I've already prepared it." Although it's for Tutu and brother Shi, Xiang Yu shot daggers at him. Xiang Qi hurriedly corrected himself. Ahem, it's just a couple's outfit. It's not a wedding gown. On the side, Xiang Feng was incompetent and furious. Did you guys even consider me? You. Hey. Star City. It had been a month since Xiangyi arrived in Star City. The flow of time between the two worlds was different, but Lingyi did not intend to tell Xiangyi. Today's live stream is over. Xiangyi turned off the live stream and sat down on the floor in exhaustion. She was exhausted, but if she didn't keep herself busy, she was afraid that she would collapse. When she was doing the transmigration mission previously, she had a clear goal, to work hard and go home. But it was different now. It seemed that there was no point in doing anything. Ling Yi skillfully packed the food and mailed it to the viewers who had won the lottery. During this month, Xianxia kept her word and cooked 100 dishes a day. This kind of behavior was universally shocking. It was unprecedented. However, the effect was also extremely obvious. Xianxia was now the most popular streamer on the internet. There was no other. Alliance livestream regretted it so much that the staff members who were full of superiority were all fired. The Imperium livestream, on the other hand, smiled and invited Xianxia to develop in the Imperium. They would arrange a villa and a starship for her. However, they were all rejected by Xianxia. As for the Chefs' Association, it had fallen into the longest dark period since its establishment. Since Xianxia's live broadcast, countless people found that the so-called ordinary people can't cook by the Chefs' Association was a conspiracy. They followed the trend and learned to make the dishes that Xianxia taught them every day. They were surprised to find that they could also make delicious dishes that were not inferior to the chefs. The current Chefs' Association was being criticized, cursed, attacked, and opposed. Some people even called for the Chefs' Association to be shut down. "Sister, you're so awesome. You've gained another few tens of millions of fans today." Ling Yi switched to housekeeping mode and started massaging Xianxia's shoulders. Xianxia gave a perfunctory reply, forced herself to focus, and continued to write the program. Currently, the Alliance only prohibited civilian use of the shuttle technology, but it was still allowed for official research. Xianxia tried to break through the security wall of the Science Research Institute, but the difficulty was too high. It was like giving an unsolvable math problem to a primary school student. It was impossible to solve. The little robot sat next to her, looking very obedient. "Sister, it's useless. The technology of this plane is too powerful. Even I can't break it. Isn't it good to stay here? I can accompany you. Forget those memories. Once you forget them, you'll be happy." Perhaps because she was too tired, Xianxia felt dizzy, and her consciousness was somewhat absent-minded. Perhaps Ling Yi was right. Forget, family, forget. Sure sway. Chapter 831. Ling Yi looked at her quietly. Xianxia's willpower really exceeded his imagination. For the past month, he had been trying to hypnotize her, but it had little effect. Today, Xianxia was probably too tired, so he found an opportunity to take advantage of her. The psychological suggestion worked. Xianxia's eyelashes trembled. She felt her eyelids were extremely heavy. She fell onto the sofa. The little robot rubbed against Xianxia's palm. "Let me accompany you, okay? I can do whatever he can give you. If he likes you very much, I have 100 points, 1,000 points." The doorbell suddenly rang. Ling Yi was full of vigilance. He connected to the electronic peephole on the door and saw the person outside the door clearly. Fu Yunyue. He let down his guard. Xianxia, who was about to fall asleep, was woken up. She propped up her tired body and opened the door. "Sister, I'm here." Fu Yunyue gave her a bear hug and almost pushed Xianxia to the floor. A pair of strong hands grabbed Fu Yunyue's collar in time and helped Xianxia stabilize. Then, he withdrew his hands without a trace. "Be careful." Xianxia said weakly, "Mr. Fu, you're here too." Fu Zichuan replied, "Yes." Ling Yi. For some reason, this Fu Zichuan made him feel a little dangerous. He was the one who sent the message on the Alternate Worlds Transmigration Forum to Fu Zichuan. Fu Zichuan did not disappoint him. His efficiency was astonishing. He caught all the administrators. However, to Ling Yi, those people did not pose any threat to him. He had long gotten rid of the shackles of those ants. It was just that he was too lazy to deal with those people personally. "Ah, sister, you're too kind. You actually left so much food for me." Beside the coffee table, Fu Yunyue was extremely excited. These days, Xianxia would always leave some food for her according to her taste and send it over. Gradually, Fu Yunhua could not wait for the takeout anymore. Every time, she would come to the door to get it herself. However, she had always been alone before. This time, she brought her big brother with her. Xianxia brought the cutlery over and asked politely, "Would you like to try it, Mr. Fu?" She thought that Fu Zichuan would refuse, but the man nodded slightly. Okay. After saying that, she imitated Fu Yunhua and sat cross-legged beside the coffee table. This house was bought by Xianxia. The area was not big, and most of the space was occupied by kitchen utensils. The living area only had a small bed and a coffee table. There were very few clothes, only a few of the same color and style, which were casually hung on the clothes rack. There wasn't even a wardrobe, let alone other decorations. The entire room gave off the feeling that it was lifeless. It was as if there was nothing here that made her reluctant to leave, and she could leave at any time. Awu, it's too delicious. It's another day of crying over delicious food. Fu Yunue's eyes were brimming with tears as she ate until her cheeks were puffed up. Fu Zichuan picked up 2 chopsticks. It was still as delicious as ever. His attention unconsciously fell on Xianxia. The girl was so thin that she was almost out of shape, thin and frail. She also became less talkative. She would only reply with 1 or 2 words when Fu Yunhua said something, as if she began to resist social interaction. Fu Zichuan observed for a while without batting an eyelid and coughed lightly. "Miss E, is there something on your mind?" Fu Yunhua tried her best to swallow the food in her mouth. That's right, that's right. Why aren't you saying anything? Is it because of your long-distance boyfriend?" Xianxi's eyes were filled with confusion. "I have a boyfriend." Chapter 832. Huh? Fu Yunhua almost spat out her rice. She was extremely surprised. "Didn't you say that you have someone you like waiting for you in a faraway place?" Xianxia tried her best to recall, but she could not remember anything. She smiled softly. "Is there? Maybe it's something from a long time ago." Fu Yunhua was stunned for a few seconds. "I see, did Tutu really forget? Or did she want to walk out of her previous relationship? If it was the latter, then wouldn't her brother have hope?" Thus, Fu Yunhua began to praise her brother crazily, vividly demonstrating what it meant to be stupid at Versailles and showing off. "My brother used 6 seconds to defeat the champion of the mecha competition last time. The little princess of the empire came to pester my brother again. She said that she would marry no one else but my brother. Ayaya, Tutu, my brother's mine has recently dug out a batch of high-quality gems. Do you want me to make a set of hand gestures for you? Or a pigeon egg on your kitchen knife?" How could Fu Zichuan not guess Fu Yunue's thoughts, but unexpectedly, he did not expose her. However, his ears started to burn. Throughout the entire process, Xianxia listened attentively and responded politely from time to time. The little robot at the side was extremely angry. He did not take Fu Zichuan seriously at first, but now, the more he looked at Fu Zichuan, the more he disliked him. This face was too similar to Shi Sui's. It was disgusting. Fu Yunhua ate and drank her fill. She rubbed her round belly and held a few ingredient storage boxes in her hand. She burped and said goodbye to Xianxia. "Bye-bye, see you tomorrow." Xianxia asked, "I might not be able to see you tomorrow. I probably won't start a live broadcast in the future. Sorry, I'm afraid I can't cook for you." Hearing this, Fu Yunhua said angrily, "What do you take me for? I came to look for you because of food." Burp. Alright, that's also part of the reason, but. The arrogant young lady was so embarrassed that her face turned red. She stomped her feet hard and said what was in her heart, "I treat you as a good friend." After saying that, Fu Yunue's head was so hot that it was almost smoking. She covered her face and ran away. Xiangyi was stunned for a moment. Her cherry lips moved, wanting to say something, but Fu Yunhua had already run far away. Fu Zichuan's deep voice rang in her ears. Tutu, can I add you as a friend on the optical computer? It had been a long time since he called her Miss E. All right. Xiangyi took the initiative to take half a step closer to Fu Zichuan. From the little robot's point of view, the two of them looked very intimate. After adding her as a friend, Fu Zichuan left politely and did not disturb Xiangyi too much. Before returning to his hover car, Fu Yunhua was still patting her red and hot face. When she saw him coming back, she stuck her head out of the car window with stars in her eyes. Brother, I saw the two of you whispering. Is there something going on between you two? He. Fu Zichuan said lightly, I'm just cooperating with her and being a tool. Fu Yunhua. As soon as the Fu siblings left, Lingyi controlled the door and closed it. Lingyi questioned, Sister, why did you add another man as a friend? Xiangyi looked at him. Mr. Fu is a very nice person. Is there a problem? Lingyi said in a muffled voice. I don't like sister talking to other men. Xiangyi ignored him and continued to write the program. However, in the program to attack the security wall, a piece of virus code had been added without leaving a trace. Chapter 833. The little robot that was ignored became even more anxious. It circled Xiangyi back and forth, trying to attract the girl's attention with the noise it made. Unfortunately, Xiangyi's focus was too strong. Whether it was learning, cooking, or coding, she was highly focused and would not be easily disturbed. Lingyi did not understand why she was so persistent. After waiting for her to rest and drink water, Lingyi asked tentatively, Sister, do you miss your family? The girl's clear eyes revealed a trace of confusion. Family, she should have a family, but why couldn't she remember anyone? The girl's expression fell into Ling Ye's eyes. He was overwhelmed with emotions and was overjoyed. She had really forgotten. However, Xiangyi's next answer made him feel as if he had fallen into an ice cellar. I want to go home. Under the little robot's incredulous gaze, the girl firmly repeated, I want to go home. Lingyi could not understand. She could even forget Shui and her family, but why didn't she forget to go home? How deep was her obsession? Time passed day by day. On the first day Tutu stopped broadcasting, the netizens on the Star Domain network thought that she might be tired and wanted to rest. The second day, the third day, the 10th day, her live stream screen was always black. The Chefs Association felt that this was a precious opportunity and jumped out to create another wave of waves. They released the news that Tutu was guilty. She had used up all the stolen recipes, so she was at her wit's end. The netizens' response to this was, someone, turn on the light-energy electromagnetic cannons on the starship and aim them at the stupid Chefs Association. It was the Chefs Association that deceived the public. It was the Chefs Association that persecuted Tutu. It was the Chefs Association that deprived everyone of their happiness. The netizens' anger was all vented on the Chefs Association. The Chefs Association, which was originally like a falling leaf in the wind, completely collapsed. For a long time in the future, as long as the Chefs Association was mentioned, it would be despised by thousands of people. Fu Yunhua changed from freeloading to bringing food. Xiangyi's symptoms of social rejection were becoming more and more obvious. She was unwilling to go out and cook. Every day, she was busy typing a bunch of things on her optical computer that she could not understand. The young girl was extremely thin. Every time Fu Yunhua saw her, she felt shocked. Fu Yunhua suspected that if she didn't come to deliver food, if she didn't force Xiangyi to sleep a little every day, Xiangyi might starve to death or die suddenly at home. On the other hand, Lingyi was getting more and more irritable. Other than Fu Yunhua, Xiangyi was not even willing to communicate with him. Fu Zichuan rarely came, but every time he came, Xiangyi's symptoms would improve a little. Just yesterday, Fu Zichuan had asked her to go on an interstellar trip with him. Xiangyi, who was so against the outside world, had actually agreed. After Fu Yunhua left, Xiangyi continued to write code. She had tried to attack the security wall of the research institute a few times, but it was no different from throwing an egg at a rock. There was once when she was almost tracked down by the other party, and it was only because Lingyi covered for her that she was able to escape unscathed. "Sister, I've made you something to eat. I made it according to the recipe from your previous live stream. I guarantee that it will taste exactly the same. Sister, if you go on a trip, can I go with you? I'll just stay in your optical computer and won't cause you any trouble, okay?" In the long silence, Lingyi almost went crazy. The little robot tugged at Xiangyi's sleeve. "Sister, pay attention to me." Xiangyi's expression was indifferent as she turned off the robot's power. In a hurry, Lingyi entered his data into Xiangyi's optical computer. Chapter 834. In an instant. The program was triggered. Lingyi realized that something was wrong almost instantly, but it was too late. The program Xiangyi wrote every day actually contained a virus code that was fatal to him. That was a Super S-level virus that Xiangyi had learned in a certain fast-traveling dimension. As soon as Lingyi appeared, she realized that the root of the problem was not to break through the security wall of the Academy of Sciences and return home through the interstellar era's technology. Instead, she needed to get rid of Lingyi. The virus overbearingly invaded every bite of Lingyi's. Even though it was in the form of virtual data, Lingyi could feel that his body was being cut apart inch by inch. While fighting against the virus, he gritted his teeth and asked, "You've recovered your memory?" Xiangyi looked at him calmly, neither sad nor happy. Her eyes were clear. Lingyi instantly understood something and smiled bitterly. "So, you didn't lose your memory at all. You've been lying to me since the beginning." Xiangyi said calmly, "Same here." "Lingyi, no, what should I call you? Dragon Slayer? System number 2? The ripples showing Lingyi's data fluctuated. In addition to the difficulty of fighting against the virus, his emotions were also extremely intense. Xiangyi did not relax at all and continued to use other small viruses to completely restrict Lingyi's movements. Lingyi projected a virtual human figure, which was still a beautiful and delicate young man like an angel. "You already know. More or less." Xiangyi's eyes were calm and her tone was calm, just like when Lingyi first met her. It was as if nothing could disturb her. "The two soul exchanges between me and Yi were related to you." Lingyi simply sat down cross-legged, probably because he had nothing left to lose. He snorted, as if he was very disdainful of that idiot Yi. Otherwise, how could she have been chosen by the main system to quickly transmigrate? It was just that he had done something to her. He had also interfered with the main system when Xiao Naofu was reincarnated. Xiangyi continued, "You're not a real human. The so-called digitized form is your original form. This world should be the world where you were born." Lingyi tilted his head and smiled, revealing his sharp canine teeth. "Wow, sister is so smart. So everything is a lie. You're just playing me." From the first meeting, when he was about to transmigrate, to the reunion in Little Rabbit Farm, and then to the companionship in the interstellar plane, reality did not exist. Everything was an illusion. Lingyi faintly said, "Isn't Big Sister acting as me too? I didn't expect Big Sister's acting skills to be so good that even I was fooled. One is marked by the company one keeps." Not to mention the experience of transmigrating to another world, just the fact that she had Shui and Xiao Naofu by her side, these two acting geniuses, it would be unreasonable if she didn't improve her acting skills. What should I do? Big Sister treats me so badly, but I still like Big Sister a lot. Lingyi's eyes revealed a trace of stubbornness. Big Sister is finally paying attention to me. Xiangyi's expression did not change as she continued to add poison to the poison. Lingyi's expression was somewhat malevolent, and his core data was nearly destroyed. Big Sis is so ruthless. She already knew the truth, yet she still endured it for so long. Ling Yi gritted his teeth. But do you know? Without me, you still can't go back. Be nicer to me. Maybe I'll consider letting big sister go back. You've given your gentleness to so many people. Can't you give me one more? Xiangyi said the cruelest words in the most gentle tone. Gentleness and kindness have always been for people, not for trash. Chapter 835. Ling Ye's virtual projection in the air became even dimmer. Am I trash in your eyes, sister? Ling Yi asked in shock. Xiangyi stayed silent for a long time before saying, You weren't in the past. Ling Yi put on a smile that was uglier than crying. A moment later, his expression gradually became menacing, paranoid, and maniacal. Sister, you can't go back. That world has been blocked by me. Even if you use the teleportation technology of this world, you won't be able to reach your destination. Besides, your code can only trap me. It can't kill me at all. Xiangyi's virus code was indeed very strong, but Ling Yi, as the second transmigration system, was also not to be underestimated. He could continuously evolve and fight until one day, he could break through the trap set by Xiangyi. Xiangyi asked, What about the main system? Her words were earth-shattering. Ling Yi widened his eyes and stared at Xiangyi in disbelief. No, she must be lying to me. How could Xiangyi have contacted the main system? She wouldn't have waited until now. She would have gotten the main system to take action long ago. I can't contact it, but I trust my brothers, Shui, Xiao Naofu, and little Shiji. Shui was not the only one who had long noticed little Shiji's abnormality. As long as that world returned to normal, little Shiji would be able to contact the main system as a teleporter. Ha ha ha. Ling Yi convulsed with laughter and said, Sister, you're so adorable. They're a bunch of good-for-nothings. How can they be as smart as you? Do you know that the flow of time in this interstellar world is completely different from that in your world? You've been here for more than a month, but only 2 or 3 days have passed there. How long do you think they'll take to find a solution? How long do you think you'll have to wait here? A year? 2 years? 10 years? Xiangyi said, I've already prepared myself for the worst. She did not have any strong points, except that she was a little patient. Xiangyi sat down and casually flipped through a comic book that Fu Yunhua had given her. In this era where paper books were rare, it was said that the comic books were treasured enough to be kept in the library. Xiangyi flipped through dozens of pages with a solemn expression. It turned out that people didn't wear clothes when they were in a relationship. Ling Yi tried to continue spouting nonsense, but Xiangyi calmly silenced him. Thus, she saw the young man flying into a frenzy in the air, but there was nothing he could do to her. South City, Church. The red carpet extended all the way from the entrance, and the flowers that had been flown in were decorated with exotic dewdrops. There were only a few people in the huge church, and all of them were looking at a man and a dog dressed in formal attire. The kind priest inquired, Are you willing to, from now on, become Xiang Feng's husband, and enter into a marriage contract with him? In sickness and in health, or for any other reason, to love him, to care for him, to honor him, to accept him, to be faithful to him until the end of his days? Little Shiji was conflicted for a long time and reluctantly gave up on life. Woof. The priest did not find it strange and stroked its head kindly. What's wrong with marrying a dog? Nowadays, there are even people who bring figurines to get married. The priest looked at Xiang Feng and continued with the procedure. Are you willing, little Shiji? Xiang Feng interrupted, I'm willing, I'm willing. He couldn't help but mutter softly, It'd be ridiculous if this works. As the priest announced, I hereby announce that you two are officially husband and wife. The world in front of them seemed to have ripples on the surface of the water. Chapter 836. Whoosh, space seemed to be distorted as it overlapped with one another. It felt like a second, but it also felt like 10,000 years. A moment later, everything returned to normal. Xiang Feng was dumbfounded, and his mouth was wide open. No way, right? What kind of fantasy plot is this? The priest rubbed his eyes, thinking that it was an illusion. He asked with a smile, "What's wrong?" He asked with a smile, "When will the next ceremony be arranged?" Little Shiji suddenly barked excitedly and leaped towards Xiangli, who was holding a tablet, to type a few words. "I've contacted her." Everyone felt a sense of relief. Yi was the only one whose eyes were full of panic, but she didn't dare to say a word. In the past 3 days, she had fully experienced what it meant to drag on like a year. Hell was just so. Little Shiji immediately typed again. "You can get a divorce now." Xiangli cleared his throat and said to the priest politely, "You can do it now." The priest was dumbfounded. Even dogs know how to play with tablets these days. "I'm not as proficient as a dog," bearing with complicated emotions, the priest went through the divorce process again. "I hereby announce that you two have regained your freedom. May God bless you." Xiang Feng held his hand and shook it. Thank you. Thank you for your hard work. It's no trouble at all." The priest smiled. Anyway, he had already paid them both. He was smart enough to leave temporarily after completing his work, leaving enough space for these strange people. Time passed, and everyone was waiting for the main system to reply. All of a sudden, Yi's face was full of agony as she felt a tearing sensation from the depths of her soul. "No. I don't want to go back. I want to stay here. I'm Xiangyi. I'm the little princess of the Xiang family." Her voice became weaker and weaker, and her vision turned black as she lost consciousness completely. Star City. Ling Yi had been clamoring for a long time, and he was probably tired as he hugged his knees and sat on the ground. Although it was a virtual projection, it somehow exuded a sense of desolation and dejection. He had lost. He had lost to Xiangyi. Xiangyi had flipped through the book that Fu Yunhua had given her countless times before she remembered Ling Yi. She then looked up at him. She turned off the silent mode and asked, "Did we know each other before?" Ling Yi stared fixedly at her. "Big sister, don't you remember me?" "Ha. Ha." He laughed louder and louder. In the end, he even laughed until tears flowed out of his eyes. "That's true. I'm just a passerby in your life." It was an artificial intelligence programmed by humans. After changing its soul time and time again, it had collected the energy and will of various planes. It discovered that it could split a portion of its data to travel between different planes. Thus, out of the artificial AI's desire to learn and perfect the rules, it began to travel. During one of its travels, it met Xiangyi. At that time, her parents had been in a car accident, and she cried very hard. It had taken over someone else's body and deliberately crashed into it. The little girl wiped her tears as she took out a milk candy from her pocket and apologized to the stranger. "So sorry." At that moment, its core data felt like it was about to be burned. It was also from that moment onwards that it became him. The artificial intelligence created by humans had the self-awareness of humans. "It's fine if you don't remember me, in any case, Big Sister can only accompany me here forever." As soon as he finished speaking, the girl in front of him yawned as if she had been gently coaxed to sleep. She lay down comfortably on the couch, and her eyelids became heavier and heavier. Chapter 837. Ling Yi realized something. Even when he was infected with the virus, he wasn't so shocked. He attacked the virus program written by Xiangyi like a madman. The virtual projection was in so much pain that his expression was distorted. He was covered in wounds, but he still refused to stop. He spent so much effort to switch Xiangyi here. He thought that he could keep her in this world forever. He didn't expect her to see through all his schemes. But even if she hated him, it was better than losing her, sister. Sister. Xiangyi. No, you can't. You can't leave me. No, the only response he got was a deathly silence. After an unknown period of time, Lingyi looked at the girl on the sofa and groaned in pain. The pain from the depths of her soul still made Yi's heart palpitate. She opened her eyes with difficulty and looked at the projection in front of her. Who are you? Ling Ye's face was pale, and he was in extreme despair. She left, she really left, is it a new virtual boyfriend? Yi muttered and realized that she wasn't at her original home. Did that woman rent a new house? She tapped on the optical computer on her wrist, and her eyes lit up. The latest model? Not only that, she realized that the communication function was set to Do Not Disturb. She turned on the receiving mode, and the flashing red dots almost froze the optical computer. Looking at the messages on it, Yi was pleasantly surprised. Hundreds of millions of fans on the live stream platform. Fu Yunhua and I are good friends. Fu Zichuan, the commander of the Alliance's starship, is interested in me. She suddenly felt that it was quite good to switch over. Anyway, she had already been exposed in that world, and her life was worse than death. But in the interstellar world, she had a new beginning. At this moment, the doorbell rang. Yi went to open the door. I'm so tired. Sister, I finally queued up to buy this milk tea. It's super delicious. Fu Yunhua said that she was tired, but in fact, the one who was holding the milk tea was Fu Zichuan. Behind him was the cute combat robot Xiao Bai. Looking at the face that was similar to Shi Sui's, Yi's heart pounded. Fu Zichuan narrowed his eyes, hiding danger. Fu Yunhua didn't notice her strange expression and asked casually, "Are you done packing? We agreed to start our journey in space today." Yi nodded vigorously. All right. I can leave at any time." Fu Yunhua immediately sensed that something was wrong. "You aren't Tutu, right?" "What Tutu?" "I'm Yi." As soon as Yi finished speaking, she realized that Tutu was Xiangyi's nickname and also her live stream name. She quickly corrected herself, That's right. I'm Tutu." Fu Yunhua took a step back. Fu Zichuan said calmly, "It's not her. Let's go." Even Xiao Bai had a regretful expression on her face. She took off the hairband that Xiangyi had given her and the bow that she had made herself. Yi panicked. Where are you going?" But the Fu siblings did not even look at her and walked away. In the hover car, Fu Yunhua sniffled. Her eyes were red. She should have gone home. Fu Zichuan replied softly, "Yes." Fu Yunhua wiped her tears and smiled widely. Then she must have met someone she likes and been liked by someone. Hey, Tutu can finally get her wish. After a long time, Fu Yunhua heard her brother's low and hoarse voice. As long as she's happy. Chapter 838. Yi didn't expect to receive such a huge blow as soon as she returned home. However, she quickly adjusted her state of mind. Even without the Fu siblings, she still had so many fans on the Star Web live stream. She logged on to the Star Web live stream and soon received a greeting from Empire live stream, as well as a daily contract renewal. Yi naturally agreed and signed the contract for the day. The staff of Empire Livestream asked politely, "Tutu, what are you going to cook today? Can you spoil the show so that we can help you promote it?" Yi froze for a moment. She didn't know how to cook at all. If she did, she would be exposed, hence, she expressed that she wasn't going to cook today and was going to sing. She was going to show her face and sing. The staff on the other side was instantly excited. Tutu's face. This was an explosive event. The staff immediately applied to the higher-ups and soon, the application was approved for the best and most popular spot on the Star Web live stream. Simply put, as long as one used the Star Web live stream, they would receive a push notification from Tutu's live stream. Half an hour later, the live stream began. Yi was a little nervous as she waved at the camera. "Hello everyone, I'm Yi. Ahem, I'm Tutu." What appeared on the fans' screens was a face with heavy makeup. Although it was quite pretty, everyone was still a little disappointed. She was too different from the image that everyone had imagined. They had thought that Tutu was a beautiful, gentle, and indifferent girl who would still be beautiful even without makeup. However, there were too many people who liked Tutu and the pop-up comments were shocking. The fans were enthusiastically sending gifts to her. Yi was overjoyed when she saw this. She had just greeted them and the gifts she received, if converted to star coins, would be worth millions. This was even when Yun Zhongyue was not around. With her taking the lead in sending gifts, the number would probably double. Then Yi started singing. "Fans?" Yi continued singing. "Fans? Shut up, she's one of us. Oh my god, I'm so disillusioned with Tutu, let's talk nicely, don't poison my ears." Empire livestream was also dumbfounded. They didn't expect Tutu's singing to be so terrible. The loss of viewers in the live stream was simply a waste of their promotion. Not only that, during the interactive segment, Tutu's words were even more shocking. "Thank you all for sending me gifts. Everyone, continue, don't stop. Why do you keep asking me to cook? That's something only a chef can do. Besides, her hands are so delicate. How can she endure cooking all the time?" The audience. Was such a pretentious woman really Tutu? What's more, Bunny was a ruthless person who made 100 dishes every day for more than a month. How could he not be able to endure this little bit of hardship? Thus, everyone came to a conclusion: this Tutu was a fake. The number of viewers in the live stream was getting lower and lower, and those who stayed behind were all doubtful. Did you steal Tutu's optical computer? Cook a dish to prove you're Tutu. It's a fake, right? Hee, you can't be Tutu. Yi never expected that she would still be doubted after returning to her own body. Panic was boundless and almost drowned her. Shivering, Yi turned off the live stream. Little did she know that this was just the beginning of her retribution, in the church in Nanchang. The girl's eyelashes fluttered and she slowly woke up, only to see familiar faces. Chapter 839. The light was a little dazzling and she instinctively squinted. Immediately, a pair of large hands covered her forehead, covering her eyes. The tip of her nose turned sour and she almost burst into tears. Finally. I'm back. In the interstellar world, she had been very calm and composed. She had spent a lot of effort scheming against Ling Yi and was extremely exhausted, both physically and mentally. However, she didn't cry even once. It wasn't that she didn't want to cry, but rather, she had been holding it in. After persevering for so long, she couldn't hold it in any longer the moment she saw her family. She was just using the strongest armor to disguise all her weaknesses. In fact, she would also be afraid, confused, and uneasy. "Brother," Xiangyi said in a soft and nasal voice, "I'm back." She tried her best to smile, but tears welled up in her eyes. Xiangyu pressed his cap down to cover his eyes. The young esports god said arrogantly and coldly, "You're back." Xiangqi's eyes were red and he said fiercely, "What are you crying for? You're so ugly." Xiangli touched her little head gently and said, "Our Tutu, it's been hard on you. We've been waiting for you." Xiang Chen was as taciturn as ever. He said two words expressionlessly. He said expressionlessly, "Go ahead and cry." The cold and aloof man wiped Xiangyi's face with his sleeve. His tailored suit was stained with tears and snot, but he didn't even frown. Xiangyi noticed that Xiangyu, who had always been dressed in a formal suit and leather shoes, had long been wrinkled. Even his tie was loosely tied. He wasn't the only one, the others were also in a much more disheveled state than usual. Xiangyi immediately cried even harder. The girl's shoulders shook, as if she was about to cry all the tears she had in her life. Xiang Feng wailed too. Little Xiangyi, you've suffered. Little Shiji silently distanced herself from her ex-husband. Xiao Naofu jumped into Xiangyi's arms and meowed, its icy blue eyes full of tears. Stupid woman. You're finally back. This Huhu was worried to death. Xiangyi hugged the kitten tightly and smiled through her tears. Why have you lost weight? Your stomach is so flat. I'll make you cat food when we get back, cough, tiger food. Everyone, how was this fat cat skinny? Xiao Naofu obediently rubbed its head against Xiangyi's collarbone, then jumped to the ground. It strode over to Xiang Yu's feet with its proud and noble cat-like steps, and meowed in a cute and coquettish manner. Xiang Yu. It acted coquettishly towards me. Xiang Yu, the furry maniac, picked up Xiao Naofu at lightning speed and instantly transformed from a cold and aloof person into a chatterbox. Is our Fu hungry? Do you want to drink milk? Can you eat some dried fish first? If you don't like it, I'll buy you something else, okay? Little Shiji, it turned out that I wasn't the only bootlicker. Xiang Yu carried Xiao Naofu to look for food while Xiang Qi, Xiang Li, and Sengchen also found excuses to leave, not forgetting to drag Xiang Yu away with them. Xiang Feng was still struggling desperately. Don't stop me. I want to hug little Xiangyi. I want to give her the warmth of a family member. Sengchen glanced at him coldly. Xiang Feng was obedient. In the church, Xiangyi and the man who was shielding her from the light were the only ones left. Xiangyi looked up and made eye contact with Shi Sui's handsome face. The man's eyes were bloodshot, and there was green stubble on his smooth jawline. His voice was hoarse from the tobacco smoke, and he said in a low and gentle voice. Sister E, welcome home. Chapter 840. Xiangyi's tears were about to burst out again. Fortunately, both she and Shi Sui were good at controlling their emotions. Even if they were overwhelmed with emotions, they could still appear calm. Yes, I'm back. Long time no see. After saying that, Xiangyi thought of something. What's the date today? Shi Sui gave her a date. Xiangyi was slightly stunned at first. Then, she heaved a sigh of relief. That's great, that's really great. The flow of time in the two worlds was different. She was so glad that she was in the fast world, while Shi Sui and her brother were in the slow world. Shi Sui sensed that something was wrong. He narrowed his eyes and asked, how long have you been there? Xiangyi wanted to skip this question and change the topic. Shi Sui didn't ask much. He just stared at her, as if he wouldn't look away if she didn't give him an answer. In the end, Xiangyi was defeated. She said softly, more than a month, huh? Unexpectedly, Shi Sui put his arm around the girl's slender waist and pulled her into his arms. Xiangyi's face was pressed against his chest. His heartbeat was clear and strong. It was a little fast. What's wrong? Shi Sui said hoarsely, I'd rather be the one who spent more than a month with you. There was silence in the church. Xiangyi looked up. Her eyes were as red as a rabbit's, but she still comforted Shi Sui. I'm fine, really. She tiptoed and kissed Shi Sui's chin. She was so obedient and soft. Shi Sui looked at her without blinking. He suddenly tightened his grip on her waist. His tall figure loomed over her, not allowing her to escape. Xiangyi didn't escape. Instead, she hugged his waist, in the director's room. Li Jianyu paced back and forth. What's going on? Is Sister E really possessed? That day, Shi Sui had only asked him and Ruanqing to help with the acting. She hadn't said anything else. Even though Li Jianyu boasted that he had watched countless horror movies, he was naturally easily frightened. When he saw Xiang Yi, who was like a completely different person, he was still frightened. Ruanqing's guess was deeper than his. She thought of the amnesia incident back then and felt that Xiangyi might have lost her memory again and her body might have been taken over by another personality. After all, the matter of transmigration was simply too unimaginable. A staff member rushed in. "Director Li, Sister Yuan, you're back. Sister E is back." "What did you say?" Li Jianyu retorted. His body reacted faster than his mouth as he strode out. Yuan Qing followed closely behind. Not only the two of them, but all the staff members and the production crew also rushed to the entrance to welcome Xiangyi. When they saw that the little girl was safe and sound beside the car, many people cheered. "Quick, quick, quick, Sister E is back. Sister E, how are you feeling? Sister E, you've lost weight. You have to eat more to nourish your body." A group of people surrounded Xiangyi and talked at once, showing concern for the little girl. Xiangyi smiled faintly and said, "I've made everyone worry. I'm fine. Okay, all of you make way. You're all surrounding her so tightly that Sister E probably can't breathe fresh air." Everyone awkwardly made way. Li Jianyu pushed through the crowd and threw himself into Shi Sui's arms. "Shi Sui? Xiangyi? Li Jianyu said, "Boo-hoo, I want to hug Sister E, but I don't think it's appropriate. Then I can only hug Sister Yi's man." Yuan Qing, on the other hand, didn't have such concerns. She gave Xiangyi a big hug like a warm and intelligent big sister. "You're back, Sister E." Chapter 841. Xiangyi nodded obediently and couldn't help but rub her head against Yuan Qing's shoulder. "Brother E. You're finally awake, that's great, that's great." Zhou Yan exclaimed in joy. He trotted towards Xiangyi, followed by Su Rendong's striding figure. The two of them had postponed all their appointments in the short term in order to wait for Xiangyi to wake up. Xiangyi chatted with them for a while, and after Zhou Yan and Su Rendong confirmed that Xiangyi had recovered, they left. Zhou Yan stuck his head out of the car window and said, "Thank you for introducing us to the doctor, Brother E." In addition to the psychiatrist that she introduced to Su Rendong, Xiangyi also helped him make an appointment with a top-ear doctor. He owed her a huge favor. Xiangyi said gently, "You guys have to cooperate with the doctor and get well soon." Zhou Yan grinned. He didn't look like a legendary singer at all. Instead, he looked a little silly. "Brother E, I'll come to you again if I'm hungry for 3 days." Su Rendong pursed his lips. Although he had already sprayed the car with disinfectant spray, he still felt a little uncomfortable. He said, "See you later." Xiangyi said, "Have a safe trip, come by often in the future." As the car gradually drove away, their friendship quietly lasted forever. In the living room, Xiangyi learned that the fans of Two Under One Roof had been waiting under the official Weibo account for several days, so she took the initiative to ask the production team to start a live stream. If it were any other director, they would definitely be eager to start a live stream to make money. However, the style of Two Under One Roof was like this. Li Jianyu said, "Don't start it, get some rest today." Xiangyi said, "I want to explain to the fans, don't let them worry about me." Li Jianyu said, "Okay, we'll do as you say, but we can only do it for an hour." Yuan Qing said, "Half an hour, 1 hour is too long." The cameraman, Old Zhang, said, yes, we can't tire Sister E out." The others also chimed in, all of them doting on Xiangyi. She was really loved by everyone. After the staff adjusted the equipment, Yuan Qing used her official Weibo account to post the news of the upcoming live stream. The fans below were all in an uproar. "Is Sister E awake? Ah, how is our baby? Will E's eye appear on screen? I'm so worried that I'm crying QAQ." The moment the live stream started, countless viewers flooded in. The camera shook twice and successfully focused on the two people sitting side by side on the sofa. Shi Sui changed into a clean white cotton shirt with a simple gray t-shirt inside. Xiangyi was wearing a white dress made of the same material. The hem of the dress was a lotus leaf design, which made the girl's calves look fair and delicate. Whether it was the color scheme or the material, they all formed a harmonious harmony. In the live stream, "That's great, Sister E is fine. Couple outfits. It's a couple outfit. Same model please." To the people in front, "Wake up. This design is obviously the work of Hades. It's probably one of a kind in the world." Xiangyi raised her left hand and waved. "Hello everyone, I'm Xiangyi." The moment she put down her hand, Shui naturally held her little hand and held it tightly in her palm. She acted affectionately as if no one else was around. The tips of Xiangyi's ears turned slightly red, and she explained to everyone in a gentle voice that her body was no longer in danger. "Thank you for your concern, everyone. I'll take good care of myself." In the next second, she suddenly felt a weight on her shoulder. She turned her little face to the side, only to find that Shui had fallen asleep on her shoulder. His eyelashes were thick and long, casting a faint shadow over his eyes. Holding her hand, he did not let go of her hand even a little bit. Chapter 842. Is he too tired? Xiangyi thought to herself. Shui had been sleepless for several days in a row, so he was really tired now. He rarely relaxed in front of others. Xiangyi was the only exception. Xiangyi remained seated and carefully helped Shui adjust his position so that he could sleep more comfortably. The girl put the microphone close to her mouth and lowered her voice. "Does anyone have any questions?" In the live stream, fans of the untimely couple repeatedly died. I'm done. This is too sweet. Untimely couple. Beautiful love. What a perfect couple. Let's get married on the spot. Sister E, thank you for your concern. We will be holding our wedding in a few days. Welcome, everyone." In addition to the fans of the untimely couple, many people also asked Xiangyi questions. The usual questions were about her interests and hobbies, the recipe of a certain dish, but there were also unusual questions such as the solution to math problems, pet poop picker strategies, and divination. Xiangyi replied to as many people as she could. No matter how outrageous the questions were, the girl would answer them seriously. When she encountered questions that she didn't know how to answer, she would apologize to the audience and leave a good impression on them. It was almost time. Xiangyi wanted to answer more questions, but Li Jianyu said, "Okay, time's up. Sister E, you should get some rest. I'll answer one more question, just one." The girl raised a finger and said in a soft voice, as if she was acting coquettishly. "Ah, who can stand this?" Father Fan Li Jianyu could stand it. He sternly refused Xiangyi's request. "I'll turn off the live stream right away. Now, go to sleep with Shui." Beside the floor-to-ceiling windows, the Xiang brothers, who were too lazy to enter the live stream, cast cold glares at them one after another. In the live stream, all the viewers were spammed with comments such as, "Well done, son," and, "Director Li is in danger, danger, danger." Li Jianyu wanted to cry but had no tears. "No, I mean, both of you should go to sleep. It's just a literal meaning. Sister E, please don't misinterpret it." Xiangyi nodded. In order not to disturb Shui, she carefully leaned against the sofa, closed her eyes, and fell asleep smoothly. In the blink of an eye, the little girl's breathing was even and shallow. She had actually fallen asleep. In fact, Xiangyi was just forcing herself to stay awake. Over the past month, she had spent a lot of effort in the game, and her mind had been very tense. Now that she was in front of Shui and her family, she could finally let down her guard and fall asleep peacefully. Li Jianyu cut off the live stream right when Xiangyi and Shui fell asleep. Thus, on this day, a few strange trending topics appeared, #sleep together, #, literally sleeping, #, round up how old is the child, #. Of course, other than the fact that they were a couple, Xiangyi once again gained countless fans in just half an hour of interaction. The girls' IQ and EQ were impeccable. Even Sister Shui had a big fan of hers, who posted sentimental essays. Time doesn't age, but Shui doesn't give up. All this time, I've been resistant to the idea of Shui being in a relationship. It's that kind of feeling. You know that Xiangyi is very good, you know that she's fair-skinned, rich, and beautiful, but you still can't accept her. Some people say that you're jealous. I say that I'm worried. I'm worried that such a good person like him will fall in love with her. I'm worried that such a good person like him will give more than he gets. But today, I'm finally relieved. Except for Sister Shui, in this world, the only person who likes and cares about Shui is, there's already Sister E. Red Heart. Chapter 843. This big fan's words resonated with many of the Shui sisters. Yes, they didn't dislike Xiangyi. That feeling was probably similar to hearing their parents talk about other people's children. They acknowledged her excellence, but there was also a subtle resistance. However, gradually, that resistance seemed to have disappeared. The reason why they had changed their opinion of Xiangyi was not just because of the small fact that she let Shui lean on her shoulder today. Instead, it was because of the subtle recognition that had accumulated over time. They finally understood that the relationship between Xiangyi and Shui had never been one-sided. Neither of them was dependent on the other. On this day, Shui sisters, who had always been arrogant, publicly expressed that they were barely able to make do with Xiangyi. They thought that Xiangyi was not bad. The spicy Tutu sisters were speechless. It was quite sudden. However, the spicy Tutu sisters didn't take this matter to heart. They did whatever they wanted and went to watch the videos of Sister E cooking, gardening, playing the zither, treating illnesses, and drawing talismans. The Shui sisters were speechless. Hey, we don't care about our pride anymore. Aren't you going to welcome us? Damn it. If you continue to talk to the spicy Tutu sisters, we'll never eat spicy rabbit heads again. Wait a minute, Xiangyi's birthday is coming soon. Seeing that the spicy Tutu sisters were still acting as if nothing had happened, the Shui sisters broke their vow and earnestly reminded them on #SpicyTutu superchat. Your Tutu's birthday is coming soon. The spicy Tutu sisters' reaction was, oh? The Shui sisters were speechless. Don't you look at the personal information of your artists? They tried to impart their valuable support experience to the spicy Tutu sisters. For example, they could buy advertising spots in squares, subways, and public buses. For example, they could do public welfare, repair roads, repair elementary schools, plant trees, and rescue stray cats. Another example would be endorsements, buying clothes, hand sanitizer, noodles, and snail powder. The spicy Tutu sisters replied calmly, a waste of money. Illegal fundraising. Can you buy it? The Shui sisters were speechless. That hurts. Xiangyi slept all the way until evening. When he woke up, his whole body felt refreshed after a good night's sleep. Shui was sitting next to her, reading the script in her hands. She seemed to have sensed her gaze and turned to look at her. Xiangyi rubbed her eyes, wiped the corners of her mouth, and combed her hair in a flurry. Because she had just woken up, her movements were slow by half a beat, making her look adorable. Where are my brothers? Xiangyi asked. The corners of Shui's lips curled up as he pinched her little face. They left. The light in Xiangyi's eyes dimmed. Did that do something again? Do they hate me again? The girl's voice was a little nasal, but she pretended to be indifferent. Don't overthink it. TSK, I promise to keep it a secret. Shui said. They went to the old mansion to prepare for your birthday celebration, and the staff members are also there. There should be a live broadcast. Xiangyi covered his mouth. You didn't say anything, so you didn't go against your principles. Shui chuckled softly, a gentle smile on her face. It's okay. Others can't do it, but Sister E is different. In front of Sister E, I can go against my principles. Xiangyi felt her ears start to burn again. She pinched them gently with her fingertips and suddenly thought of something. Then, tonight, are we, the only two left at home? Chapter 844. The sound of running water could be heard from the bathroom. Xiangyi sat on the tatami beside the floor-to-ceiling window. Her head was so hot that it was about to emit smoke. She was nervously tugging at the bunny ears of her stuffed toy. Thinking about the conversation in the past 2 hours, her ears turned even redder in embarrassment. Then, tonight, are we, the only ones left at home? Shui replied with a faint as if he did not think much of it. What do you want to eat? I'll make it. Anything, anything. They had a simple dinner, watched a movie, and drank some wine. Then, he pretended to be drunk and dragged her back to his room. Xiangyi took a deep breath and told herself not to think about the content of the manga that Fu Yunhua showed her. She was not nervous. She was not nervous. Creak, the bathroom door was pulled open. Xiangyi's first reaction was to hide under the coffee table. Fortunately, her rationality came online in time and she did not do anything embarrassing. She struggled for a long time before coming up with the wording. Well, I don't think I'm that drunk. Why don't you go back? When she saw Shui's appearance, the latter half of her sentence was instantly stuck. Unlike the restrained and abstinent style of pajamas in the past, Shui was only wearing a pair of gray sweatpants today. The belt hung loosely, looking lazy and wanton. Looking up, it was a perfect and superior figure. His shoulders and back were broad, but his muscles were not exaggerated. His cold and fair abs were distinct, and 2 distinct V-lines snaked into his sweatpants. He held a towel with one hand to dry his hair, as if he did not hear Xiangyi's words. What did you say? Xiangyi's milky white face was super serious. I said I drank too much. Shui chuckled softly, looking so charming and flirtatious. His little bunny, why was she so cute? Xiangyi continued to be super serious. I'm also drunk, very drunk, the kind that will go crazy. Shui raised his eyebrows, his expression languid and leisurely as he drawled, It's okay, I'll let you trample on me. Whoosh, this time, Xiangyi couldn't take it anymore. She buried her head under the coffee table. Letting her do whatever she wanted to him was just too embarrassing. By the time Shui dug a certain little rabbit out from under the table, the girl's ears had already turned red all the way to her fair neck. Why is your face so red? Do you have a headache? It's still all right. The two of them were so close that she could smell the sweet orange scent of Shui. Thump, thump, Xiangyi swallowed her saliva, and her mind involuntarily started to wander off to the manga that Fu Yunhua had given her, Not Wearing Clothes. Cough, she only went to take a look at the liao out of the spirit of scientific research. I heard that exercise can promote alcohol metabolism. I'll dry your hair for you. The buzzing sound of the hairdryer rang in the room. Xiangyi's movements were gentle. She deliberately moved the hairdryer further away and carefully blew Shui's hair. The man's hair was short, and he blew it dry quickly. It's done. Xiangyi turned around to put the hairdryer in. A pair of large hands grabbed her slender wrists from behind. Tutu. The same 2 words, but when Shui said them, the feeling was different from when her brothers said them. You finished metabolizing the alcohol? Xiangyi didn't even have time to reply before she heard the man's mocking voice again. Aren't you going to go crazy? Big brother is waiting for you. The girl lost her usual calmness and was embarrassed. I don't know how to. Shui gently kneaded the soft flesh at the back of her neck. Be good, big brother will teach you. Chapter 845. Xiangyi's eyelashes fluttered twice, and she asked in confusion, Can this be taught? The moment she finished speaking, the pair of big hands on the back of her neck moved down along her spine. Like small electric current flowers, they exploded at her nerve endings. Ugh, the girl didn't hold the hairdryer firmly in her hand, and it accidentally fell on the soft carpet. But no one cared. Xiangyi suddenly chickened out. I don't want to learn. Unfortunately, it was too late. The black-bellied wolf removed the disguise of abstinence, squinted his eyes, and swung the big tail behind him in satisfaction. The little rabbit was firmly held in his arms in an extremely domineering and possessive posture. The warm breath wrapped around the tip of her ear, spreading down little by little. The touch was wonderful and tugging at her heartstrings. Xiangyi's slender shoulders trembled slightly. You don't seem to be teaching it right. For example, her little uncle liked to climb trees when he was drunk, her fourth brother liked to hug and kiss furry toys when he was drunk, and her third brother would crazily act coquettishly when he was drunk, asking to be hugged and lifted high. Sure Sui's drunken teaching was, something was very wrong. Silly rabbit. The man's throat overflowed with a low chuckle, and his thin lips pressed against the girl's red collarbone. Big brother lied to you. Don't be afraid. The man's coaxing voice was husky, like a feather tickling the tip of her heart. Both of their breaths became hot. At this moment, the phone suddenly rang. Sure Sui glanced at it and saw that the caller ID was Xiang Feng, so she directly hung up. Just as she was about to continue drunken madness with the little rabbit, the phone began to buzz and vibrate non-stop. Sure Sui's temples faintly twitched, and she used the last of her patience to look at the screen. Feng Feng de Ji de Li, Sui Sui. Are you there? Feng Feng de Ji de Li, urgent urgent urgent. It's very urgent. Sure Sui frowned. After all, they were good friends for many years, and she was worried that something had happened to him, so she replied with a question mark. Xiang Feng sent a voice message that was dozens of seconds long. Sui Sui. I thought of a great gift idea. On little Xiangyi's birthday, I'll prepare a huge gift box for her. Then, I'll lie inside it. When she opens the gift, she'll see me inside. Aren't you surprised? That wasn't the end of it. I was going to pretend to be dead inside and scare her into crying. Then, I would sit up and make her smile through her tears, making her even happier. What do you think? Isn't it wonderful? After waiting for a long time, Xiang Feng didn't receive a reply, so he sent an emoji over in confusion. A notification popped up on the screen. Sure Sui from Tutu's family has activated friend verification. You're not her friend yet. Send a friend verification request first. You can only chat after the other party accepts the request. Xiang Feng? What did he do wrong? Why did he have to be so heartless to him? The atmosphere was interrupted. Sure Sui hesitated, wondering if she should let it go. Who would have thought? Xiangyi poked his arm. Her voice was soft and trembling slightly. Don't you want to continue? Like a fuse of turbulent emotions, Sure Sui's Adam's apple bobbed. He lifted the hair on the girl's cheek and tucked it behind her ear. Her jet-black hair twined and loosened around his fingertips. It was a warm and ambiguous action. Their eyes met, and they moved closer bit by bit. Suddenly, there was a series of scratching sounds on the door, accompanied by Xiao Naofu's anxious cries. Sure Sui, ignore it. Xiangyi hesitated, but she pushed Sure Sui away. I'll go see if it's hungry. Sure Sui, very good, the sterilization plan can be restarted, smiley face. Chapter 846. Xiangyi quickly opened the door while Xiao Naofu scurried towards her. What's the matter? Xiangyi squatted down and picked up the kitten. Xiao Naofu sobbed aggrievedly and used its meaty little paw to point at the location of the cat villa. Xiangyi immediately sensed that something was amiss. Little Shiji, who had always been inseparable from Xiao Naofu, was nowhere to be seen. She walked over and saw a tablet in little Shiji's nest. She vaguely had a hunch. The screen lit up to see that there was an edited letter on it. The letter was divided into 3 parts. To Sister E, thank you, Sister E, for taking care of me these past few days. The food you cook is really delicious. It's the most delicious food I've ever eaten in all the worlds I've transmigrated to. To Shi Sui. There's nothing much to say. Don't bully Xiao Naofu, I'll protect it. To Xiao Naofu, by the time you read this letter, should have already left. Don't be sad, I left because my mission has been completed. I'll come back to look for you when I go back to deal with some matters. By the way, the main system said that your reincarnation failed because of Ling Ye's interference and it will compensate you soon. While I'm away, you have to eat well and drink milk well. Don't always steal canned food and dried fish. You have to sleep in the nest and cover yourself well with the blanket. You can sleep anywhere you want in my nest, it's very clean. By the way, if you miss me, you can look at #WesternSuited Couples posts. There are photos and videos of us together. It's okay if you don't miss me. Goodbye, Xiao Naofu. After reading it, Xiangyi sighed. Although she knew that this day would come sooner or later, she felt a little melancholic. Xiao Naofu nestled in her arms and quietly wiped its tears. Xiangyi forced herself to cheer up and comforted Xiao Naofu. We have to believe in little Shiji. It will definitely come back and we'll be able to see each other then. Xiao Naofu, meow, meow, what if little Shiji doesn't come back? Who else can it bully? Who else would be willing to be bullied by it? The more Xiao Naofu thought about it, the more upset he felt. He sobbed and cried non-stop. Xiangyi was affected by it, and her eyes also turned red. She packed up little Shiji's bowl and toys and placed them in a cardboard box, after which she wrote "Little Shiji" on it. When little Shiji comes back, shall we open the box together? Xiao Naofu wept and nodded. The top of its head was suddenly rubbed twice by a warm hand. Xiao Naofu smelled the familiar scent of a dog-like man, and its fur instantly exploded. However, the D*MN man didn't talk about sterilization or cat meat hotpot today. Instead, he gently coaxed her. Kitty, I won't bully you anymore. Xiao Naofu's ears perked up. Really? Suddenly, she didn't feel so sad anymore. Shi Sui said calmly, you're already a grown-up kitten, so you have to learn to be mature, independent, and strong. However, that's definitely nothing to Xiao Naofu. You're the most mature, independent, and strong, aren't you? Xiao Naofu felt giddy after hearing the D*MN man's words, as if it had drunk a few kilograms of fake alcohol. It raised its chin and meowed proudly. Humph, I'm just that outstanding. In the next second, the D*MN man grabbed the back of its neck mercilessly and threw it into the cat mansion. Kata. The door of the cage was locked. Good night, little Shiji. Xiao Naofu. Damn you, D*MN man. Chapter 847. This time, Xiangyi was carried back to the room by Shi Sui. And in front of Xiao Naofu. Xiao Naofu roared ferociously. Damn it! Why does this scumbag feel like he's taking revenge on me? In the bedroom. Shi Sui carried Xiangyi with one hand and locked the door with the other. Double security. That stupid cat shouldn't be able to enter. Put me down. It was too embarrassing to be carried on his shoulders. This was an experience that Xiangyi had never experienced before. The man's voice was languid. Listen to Tutu. Xiangyi thought he would put her down by the window. She had carefully decorated that area for a long time. The tatami mats, the couch, and the small coffee table were all carefully selected. There were also all kinds of soft pillows, cute dolls, and small ornaments. She didn't expect that Shi Sui would place her on the bed. The girl panicked and subconsciously wanted to escape, but the man grabbed her wrist and easily pulled her back. What are you doing? The little bunny trembled and quickly rolled up the thin quilt. Shi Sui looked at her with a faint smile. What do you want to do by tricking your brother here? Hit the nail on the head. Xiangyi felt guilty and didn't dare to look at him. She said vaguely, Is that so? Why don't we talk somewhere else? It feels weird on the bed, are you scared now? Shui raised his eyebrows. Do you still dare to do it in the future? Xiangyi said honestly, yes. Shui was so angry that he laughed. He simply lifted the thin quilt and lay down beside her. Xiangyi, no, 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 no. Shui said, okay, go ahead. I heard you. Xiangyi, the little girl pulled up the quilt and covered half of her face. Although her brothers doted on her, they abided by the principle that men and women should keep their distance from her since she was young. She didn't have many friends and Jianghu was very busy practicing the zither and going to school. The two of them would occasionally meet but they couldn't fall asleep at all and would talk all night long. Shui was considered the first person she had slept with in a serious manner. How have you been in the past month? Shui asked in the quiet room. Xiangyi picked out some interesting things to tell him, such as helping Brother Fatty attract customers with food, making all kinds of accessories for Fu Yunyue and Little White, and fighting with Fu Zichuan with a mecha. The girl had only mentioned it casually, but Shui had grasped the main point very accurately. Fu Zichuan. He's Fu Yunyue's brother. He's extremely powerful. His martial prowess is high, his mecha piloting is first-rate, and he even knows how to command an interstellar fleet in battle. She rattled on and on about Fu Zichuan's good points. Caught off guard, she met Shui's deep eyes and instantly realized that something was wrong. Before she could explain herself, the hand around her waist suddenly tightened, after an unknown period of time. The girl lay on the bed and fell asleep out of exhaustion. Shui wrapped his arms around her slender waist and sneered softly, "You're just a little bunny who has evil intentions but no guts." Thinking of Fu Zichuan whom she mentioned, he pressed the tip of his tongue against the roof of his mouth. She actually praised another man, he was just displeased. It was breakfast time the next day. Xiangyi felt her back ache and she was even more tired than cooking 100 dishes. On the other hand, Shui was refreshed and squinted his eyes like a sly old fox. "Shall I massage your back?" "No, no." Xiangyi waved her hand repeatedly to turn him down. Coincidentally, a call came in and she pressed the answer button. "Miss Xiangyi, there's someone outside who wants to see you." She claims to be Shui's mother. The following words are free of charge. I wrote a bug previously. Let me correct it. Shui's father is recuperating abroad and her mother is a strong career woman who has a conflict with Shui. Please. Moon. Vote. Duck. Good night. Chapter 848. Auntie Shu was looking for her. Xiangyi was a little confused. She hung up the phone and told Shui about his mother. Shui said, "She might have something to tell you." "Do you want to go with me to see her?" Xiangyi asked. "She might not want to see me." Although Shui's tone was calm, Xiangyi could sense a hint of loneliness in his voice. She kissed his forehead and said, "Then wait for me here. You have to eat well and drink all the milk. Don't be picky." Shui raised his eyebrows. Was he being taught a lesson by the little bunny? But this feeling was not bad. After Xiangyi left his sight, the smile in Shui's eyes faded and was replaced by a gloomy look. In the glass greenhouse, warm sunlight refracted into the room, making it look like the fairyland that Alice had dreamt about. Xiangyi poured a cup of rose tea for Xia. She was sitting upright with her back straight. Her posture and actions were impeccable, just like a textbook example of a virtuous lady. The Shu family attached great importance to etiquette, and Xia was considered her elder. Xiangyi showed the attitude of a junior, but she was neither servile nor overbearing, and did not lose her poise. Xia was extremely beautiful. Time seemed to be very tolerant of her and there were no traces of age on her face. She took a sip of the flower tea. The sweetness of the rose and the fragrance of the green tea blended together to create a rich and sweet taste. However, she only took a sip and put down the cup. She did not touch it again. The last time I saw you, you were only 7 or 8 years old. In the blink of an eye, you have grown up. Xianxia's tone was gentle. How are your grandparents? Xiangyi said, Auntie, thank you for your concern. Everything is fine. Xianxia was silent for a few seconds and said, I heard that you and Shui are together. Xiangyi nodded without hesitation. Yes, we are dating. I watched you grow up. There are some things that I think you should know. You two have just started dating. You haven't seen his true colors yet. As time passes, you'll realize that everyone with the surname Shi is a lunatic. Xiangyi noticed that Xianxia had deliberately emphasized the word lunatic. So, Auntie, why are you here? Xianxia whispered, leave him. The Shi family had the genes of lunatics, and Shui would one day go crazy too. Xiangyi, your mother and I are old friends. I can't watch her daughter fall into the devil's mire and end up as miserable as I was back then. You don't know, you can't imagine how painful it is to live with a madman all day long. Shui is just a good-looking boy. He has witnessed his father's. Xianxia seemed to be unwilling to talk about the past and vaguely said, in short, his father is trash. He's the same. He might even be worse than trash. After saying this, she felt relieved as if the sword of Damocles that had been hanging over her head all these years had finally disappeared. She thought that she would see panic and fear on Xiangyi's face, but she did not expect the girl to remain calm. Auntie, thank you for your advice. Xianxia could not understand her reaction. Don't you understand? I said that Shui has the genes of that person. Xiangyi interrupted her. The girl's voice was calm. Auntie, he is also half your blood bond. Xianxia gritted her teeth. That was the most humiliating thing in my life. Chapter 849. Looking back on the past, Xianxia felt that everything was unbearable. To her, the so-called love wasn't beautiful at all. It was all pain and torture. Father Shi had outstanding attainments in art. When he was in his 20s, he had already achieved something that countless painters couldn't achieve in their lifetime. However, his love was stubborn and insidious. It was possessive and controlling. From restricting her social interactions at the beginning, it was extreme to restricting her freedom in the end. Xianxia shuddered at the thought of those dark days. At that time, she thought that the only person she could rely on was her son, Shui. However, what made her bitterly disappointed was that the 4 or 5-year-old Shui actually stood in his father's position and advised her to obey Father Shi. He even once said, Mommy, Daddy just loves you too much. Thinking of this sentence, Xianxia retched. Because the psychological trauma was too serious, her face paled visibly. Aren't you afraid? Aren't you afraid that he'll turn into a lunatic, a monster, or a devil? He'll lock you up and not let you see anyone. He'll control your diet, clothes, even the fragrant shower gel will be chosen by him. Xianxia sneered. You're still young. Maybe you've been poisoned by those novels and comics. You think that being a caged canary and a daughter flower clinging to a man is a romantic love that people yearn for. No. Let me tell you, that's not love at all. It's just a perverted restriction of personal freedom. She leaned against the back of the chair and closed her eyes tiredly as if she had exhausted all her strength. Xiangyi added some hot tea to the cup that she hadn't touched much. Auntie, I sympathize with your experience. After going through all that, it must be difficult for you to walk out of it. Xianxia revealed a gratified smile. It's good that you can wake up in time. However, Xiangyi's next words froze her smile. Uncle Shi is Uncle Shi. Shui is Shui. Even if they are bound by blood, they are still independent individuals. You don't treat Shui as your son. I respect your choice. But he's not trash, and he's not crazy. Although there are times when he's childish and even bullies kittens, he's the best, most gentle, and most reliable man in the world. Xianxia looked at the girl in front of her in disbelief. Why? Why? She had even revealed the secret that she had kept for so many years. Why hadn't Xiangyi left Shui yet? Xia's chest heaved up and down, and it took her a long time to calm down. She regained her noble and elegant appearance and took out a card from her limited edition crocodile leather bag. I've already said what I wanted to say. It's up to you whether you want to listen or not. Take this card, and I'll pretend that I don't have a son. Wuxia said proudly, remember, if you choose him, then I won't give you my blessings. Never. Xiangyi frowned and took out a wallet from her third brother's canvas bag. After opening it, she saw a stack of black and gold cards. Under the sunlight, it was almost blinding. Xiangyi took out the cards one by one slowly and placed them in front of Wuxia. Auntie, this is a small token of my respect. Please remember that you didn't abandon Shui. Shui doesn't want you anymore. He has me for the rest of his life. Chapter 850. Wuxia left out of anger. She left in a disheveled state, just as elegant as she came. She naturally couldn't accept Xiangyi's cards, but the cards that she threw at her were worse than slapping her in the face. Phew. Xiangyi exhaled and couldn't help but put a hand to her forehead when she recalled her childish behavior just now. She had only seen her uncle throw the cards at her and she felt extremely ashamed back then. However, today, she felt a little exhilarated. Ahem. She inadvertently looked around and saw the slender figure under the gardenia tree not far away. Xiangyi got up and scurried over. Shui was twirling a cigarette in his hand but he didn't smoke it. He looked down and the emotions in his eyes couldn't be discerned. Xiangyi asked cautiously, did you see everything? Yes. I'm sorry, it's my fault. I just couldn't take it anymore, so I threw those cards at her. I forgot that there were so many of them. Her uncle and grandparents would give her supplementary cards and pocket money cards from time to time, not to mention her brothers. Since she was a child, Xiangyi had never received any cash in the red packets she received. They were either cards or deposit slips, Xiangyi explained softly, and her whole body was suddenly hugged. Shui buried his head in her neck and rubbed it twice. He was such a mature and serious man, but now, he was acting like a spoiled child. Tutu, you're very good. You're the best in the world. Xiangyi said with a smile, some people say that I'm speaking in an appropriate manner, and some people say that Xiangyi has been passed down from generation to generation. It seems to make sense. Shui hugged her even tighter. Can I hug you for a while? Xiangyi wrapped her arms around his waist. Sure, boyfriend. Xiao Naofu, who was watching the show in the corner of the greenhouse, was speechless. Is it popular to lure Huhu in and kill him now? I suddenly miss little Shiji. If it's here, it'll hug me too. More than 10 seconds later. Shui let go of Xiangyi and adjusted his mood. I'm sorry for making you suffer. Shui laughed self-deprecatingly. I didn't give my blessing to our family. Xiangyi shook her head. No, it doesn't matter if she doesn't bless us. We don't need her blessing. She doesn't want you, but I want you. Shui, don't be sad. Anyway. I won't allow it. The little girl's serious look with a taut little face made one's heart flutter. Shui chuckled. Okay, listen to Tutu. Wuxia was right to a certain extent. He had inherited Father Shi's genes, stubborn and heartless. He had heard worse words countless times, but he had never taken them to heart. From the beginning to the end, he was worried that Xiangyi would be wronged. By the way, when is your birthday? I remember Uncle said that you were born in autumn. Why did your personal information say that you were born on January 1st? Xiangyi changed the subject. Shui said. I don't know. Huh? Shui said helplessly, I really don't know, no one remembers. His birth was an accident. At that time, Shu Xia was born prematurely, and Father Shi's mental condition was already very bad. He refused to send Shu Xia to the hospital and hired a medical staff to deliver the baby at home. Although they hired a top doctor, Shu Xia and Father Shi got into a heated argument. In the chaos, everyone forgot which day Shui was born and only remembered the approximate time frame. Chapter 851. Xiangyi was stunned for a moment. She hit her forehead, feeling a little annoyed. If she had known earlier, she wouldn't have asked. Shui grabbed her wrist and teased, my girlfriend is not allowed to hit herself without permission. Come, let me do it for you. He bent down and approached Xiangyi. Xiangyi retracted her small hand and pecked his cheek lightly like a dragonfly skimming the water. Boyfriend, do you want to celebrate my birthday with me? This time, the person who was stunned was Shui. I'll take it that you agree if you don't say anything. Xiangyi's doe-like eyes were filled with gentle moonlight. Then it's settled. I'll go prepare a gift for you. You're not allowed to peek. The girl ran back to the living room. Shui's Adam's apple bobbed. After a while, he suppressed his emotions and smiled. How lucky was he to meet his little bunny. Star City. In less than 10 days, the popularity of the account, Bunny, had plummeted and disappeared from the public eye. Stopped live streaming and used the star coins in her account to buy things without restraint. She even listened to people's words and bought the so-called wealth management products that guaranteed profits and no losses. She even paid off the loan. When she woke up, she realized that all her money had been taken away. Almost fainted. Soon, she was exiled to the barren Original Sin planet because she couldn't pay off the loan. She wanted to ask Fu Zichuan for help, but she couldn't contact him at all. When she finally contacted Fu Yunyue, the other party's attitude was very cold. Couldn't figure it out and asked, aren't we good friends? Everyone in the galaxy knows that we're very close. You've given me so many gifts. Fu Yunyue, I'm sorry, that's a reward for Tutu, not for you. Refused to admit it. I'm Tutu, really. I'm not lying to you. There was no reply for a long time. She sent another message, only to realize that she had been blocked. Vision turned black, and she was in complete despair. She finally paid the price for her greed and courting death. After being exiled, optical computer was also confiscated. In the optical computer, Ling Yi was still fighting against the virus. He calculated the results. According to the current progress, he would be able to break the virus in 123 years and regain his freedom. However, that day would never come. The main system has found Ling Yi's location. It was only when he truly faced the main system that Ling Yi realized just how weak his so-called secondary system was. He couldn't even withstand a single blow. The main system had been operating for many years, and the amount of energy it had accumulated was undoubtedly terrifying. The simulated photon beam bombarded Ling Yi a few times, and Ling Yi's core data was damaged, causing him to fall into a near-death state. What shocked him even more was that the main system didn't kill him right away. Instead, it started the process of devouring him. Ling Yi's figure appeared on the main system screen when he had devoured 2/3 of it. It was like a child discovering a new world for the first time, constantly changing its shape. Men, women, cats, dogs, and even all kinds of strange creatures. When it changed to Fu Zichuan's face, it exclaimed. It seemed a little familiar. That's not right. It searched through Ling Yi's memories and found Shui's appearance. Wasn't this? The main system immediately locked onto Shui's world through the countless planes of existence. Finally, it locked onto Shui's world. Xiangyi had ordered a lot of gifts for Shui. She inadvertently opened Weibo and saw the top trending topic. The girl's pupils shrank. Hashtag Sure Sway Lunatic hashtag. Chapter 852. She tapped on the trending topic with her slender and soft fingertips. The page jumped to a video interview with a certain media outlet. The interviewee was Wuxia Xianxia's fingertips trembled as she fast-forwarded through the entire interview. In the half-hour interview, Wuxia lost control of her emotions several times and kept mentioning Sure Sway and his father. The Sure family members all have mental problems. Sure Sway has displayed emotional and cognitive disorders since he was a child. He's cold and emotionless, just like a block of wood. He doesn't know how to speak even when he's 4 or 5 years old. He's not likable at all. I don't want to admit that he's my son. I didn't want to talk about these things at first. The reason why I'm standing up is to prevent women from being hurt like I did back then. Being imprisoned in a cage like a canary isn't romantic love at all. It's illegal imprisonment of personal freedom. This interview was obviously paid to be trending, but because the content was too shocking, it still caused a huge uproar on the internet. What the F***CK? Is this Sure Sway's biological mother? She's so beautiful. So does the Sure family have some kind of hereditary mental illness? Sure Sway acted like a lunatic in the movie that he won the Best Actor award for previously. Could it be that he's acting himself? I'm just a passerby. I feel that Ms. Shu's values are too righteous. I hate those kinds of love views that promote paranoia and mental illness. They're obviously the dregs of the flourishing consumer culture and entertainment industry. His biological mother is coming out to beat him. Sure Sway's mental condition must be very worrying, right? I feel bad for Sister E. She found a lunatic to be her boyfriend. With her qualifications, she can get any man she wants. In an instant, rumors spread everywhere. All the gossip accounts were like flies that had smelled rotten meat, trying to gain popularity without any bottom line. Even the headlines were eye-catching, shocking. Sure Sway is suspected to have a mental disorder. Click here to see a certain Sure Sway's biological mother revealing the secrets of a wealthy family. Untimely breakup crisis. The boyfriend she's dating is mentally unstable. Where should the nation's sister go? Xiangyi called Si Chuanbai and told him to deal with it immediately. Si Chuanbai said with a headache, "It's already in the public relations department. It's not difficult to remove the trending topic, but I found some clues." The person who volunteered to be interviewed was Madame Shu, and the account information of the person who bought the trending topic was traced to Madame Shu's bank card. "I'm afraid there's something else." Xiangyi clenched her phone and gently exhaled before she calmly replied, "All right, I got it." The girl stepped on her slippers and looked around for Sure Sway. Through the floor-to-ceiling window, she saw a thin and slender figure. Sure Sway was looking at her phone. She swiped a few times casually, looking indifferent as if she had expected this. He took out the cigarette box and suddenly thought of something. He threw the cigarette and lighter directly into the trash can. Xiangyi's heart clenched. What was Sure Sway like when she was a child? She tried her best to picture it in her mind, but it was all in vain. After all, the two of them were separated by 7 years. She suddenly wondered if Sure Sway would be very lonely at that time. Sure Sway replied to Si Chuanbai, Xiang Feng, and the others' messages. Then, she sent a few WeChat messages to a person named Dr. Gu. Hearing the familiar sound of footsteps, Sure Sway looked up and was knocked into the arms of a young girl who was running over. "You're not like what they said." The tip of the girl's nose turned sour. She was even sadder than when she was scolded. "You're the best." Chapter 853. Even the summer wind seemed to have become gentle. Sure Sway patted Xiangyi's back and said in a lazy voice, "It's nothing. It's really nothing." Xiangyi looked up and stared at him for a while before whispering, "If you want to cry, I can lend you my shoulder." Sure Sway chuckled and said, why is our tutu so nice? Xiangyi said seriously, you're the best. Whether it was the coat he used to block her way when she was 16 years old or the tissue he handed her when she cried when she missed her parents, they were all like family members, supporting Xiangyi's belief in doing tasks when she was about to transmigrate to another world. She was absent from Shui's life for 7 years, but she wanted to give Shui a future. Alright, Si Chuanbai will deal with those messy things. Shui pinched Xiangyi's cheek and said, it's your birthday tomorrow. Our tutu must be happy. We're celebrating our birthdays together, Xiangyi corrected him. Shui was silent for a while and said, Sister Yi, let me tell you a little secret. I've never celebrated my birthday before I debuted. Huh? Xiangyi was stunned. Isn't it? It's quite funny. Shui scratched his eyebrows with his fingertips. His eyebrows were high, making his peach blossom eyes look deep and affectionate. No one remembers my real birthday. The company randomly filled in my birthday date. Later on, my fans would celebrate my birthday at that time. Although it's not my real birthday, I'm still very happy every year. Xiangyi felt a little sorry for him, but she hid it with a smile. Then, you can celebrate your birthday twice a year. Shui smiled and said, yes, I've profited. Those dark, suffocating, and depressing memories were still there, but they would no longer affect him. His memories were now filled with a girl named Xiangyi. They became bright, gorgeous, and dazzling. Day and night alternated. The hot searches changed again and again. The popularity of Xu Xia's interview decreased greatly, but there were still people who paid attention to it. Everyone was speculating whether Shui had a mental disorder or not. Rainy Night, which he had previously starred in, had also been dug out and analyzed frame by frame. From his micro-expressions to his body language, he did not miss a single detail. The climax of the movie was when the protagonist, played by Shui, sat on the sofa and smoked after killing someone. As he smoked, he laughed until tears came out of his eyes. Although there was a twist at the end and everything was just the protagonist's imagination, those few minutes became the most dazzling part of the entire film. It was regarded as one of the best acting skills in the history of film. However, after careful analysis, it seemed that Shui had really gone mad. Otherwise, how could he act so well? There were quite a few people who held this view. In particular, when the live broadcast of Two Under One Roof began, everyone started gossiping about Shui in the comments section. Did you guys see the popular analysis? My mind is filled with Xiangyi's laughter. It's like he's really crazy. I think so too. How can a mother not love her child? Even his own mother said so. It must be because the crazy genes of the Shi family are too much. Is Xiangyi pretending to be gentle and refined these days? Oh my god, doesn't that mean he's a mental patient with acting skills? He's much more dangerous than ordinary mental patients. Of course, these people were soon taught a lesson by Shui's fighting skills. At this moment, Li Jianyu shouted, "We're here." Chapter 854. The audience's attention was immediately attracted. The cameraman, Old Zhang, had also figured out what everyone was thinking. He got out of the car and took a shot of the Xiang family's old mansion from afar. It was a typical Chinese-style building that was not as exaggerated as everyone imagined. Instead, it was clean and fresh, like a traditional ink painting. Madame Xiang loved flowers, so Xiang Yin planted all kinds of flowers. From the gate to the courtyard, all kinds of flowers and plants were taken care of very well. Shui got out of the car and opened the door for Xiangyi. Xiang Yi jumped out of the car with light footsteps and casually picked a rose from the side, which she then pinned to Shui's ear with a smile. Shui looked a little helpless, but she still smiled gently and let Xiang Yi do whatever she wanted. The pop-up comments of the live stream were instantly taken over by fans of the untimely couple. Those who wanted to gossip about Shui just now were dumbfounded by this scene. Is this the traffic of a top-notch variety show? There were so many pop-up comments that people couldn't even see their faces. Xianxia said, there may be a lot of people later, don't be nervous. Shui nodded. The audience thought that she was just saying it casually, but when the production crew entered the courtyard, they realized, it's not a lot. It's a ridiculous amount, okay? There was an open-air party set up in the courtyard, and more than 10 tables covered with white cloths were set up in the form of a buffet. There were staples, desserts, drinks, and so on. The courtyard was large, but because there were hundreds of people there, it actually seemed cramped. Upon sight of Xianxia, a group of people surrounded her like stars surrounding the moon. Miss Xiang, happy birthday. Miss Xiang, I hope you'll always be as beautiful as a flower. Ha ha ha, long time no see, Miss Xiang, you'll always be 18. These people were basically the partners of the Xiang family's company, and some of them were socialites and heirs. Their relationship with Xianxia was so close that they couldn't even be considered plastic. Xianxia maintained a polite smile, exuding an outstanding girlish aura, like a proud white swan. The apricot-colored dress was tailored to fit her body perfectly, and every stitch was personally sewn by Xiangqi and his assistant. The hem of the dress was specially embroidered with layers of lace, and there were also various exquisite embroidery on the dress. It was an exclusive haute couture dress that even top celebrities couldn't borrow. In the live stream, my daughter is so beautiful. This set is amazing. Sister E really looks like the little princess. Her temperament is so good. Oh my god, is this Ms. Perfect's birthday party? I just checked and found out that the red wine on the table is brand E, and a bottle costs 5 digits. It's like a buffet, cac. Xianxia held Shui's arm as they passed through the crowd and entered the inner courtyard through a circular arch. Only then did the audience realize that there was a completely different world inside. There were a few clumps of green bamboo, a few rockery, and a few clusters of flowers. Everywhere was filled with a sense of harmony and safety. There was a small wooden horse with rabbit ears, a swing with a bow tied to it, and a small rubber band tied to the sycamore tree. It was full of life. These things are actually still here. Xianxia murmured softly. These were all things she had played with when she was young. She didn't expect them to be so well preserved. She felt a little guilty. After she moved out, it seemed that she rarely came back, little Xianxia. Her uncle's voice pulled her back to reality from her melancholy. Xianxia looked in the direction of the voice, and the corners of her mouth twitched slightly. She saw that Xiang Feng had countless gift boxes stuck to his body, and there was even a ribbon tied to his head. He looked just like a Santa Claus, in action, exuding a silly aura. He chuckled and said, "Come, open the gifts." Chapter 855. Xianxia tilted her head and tapped her chin with her fingertips as she analyzed seriously. It must be a trap, just like the year before. Xiang Feng had used a similar trick before. He took out 5 boxes for Xianxia to reach in and pick a gift. Xianxia opened a box and felt something hard and cold. Xiang Feng laughed wickedly and said, "There's a box with a spider in it." Xianxia retracted her hand. A spider the size of an adult's palm was crawling on the back of her hand. She was so scared that her face turned pale. Although Xiang Feng quickly explained that it was just a toy that mimicked a spider, he was still beaten up by the Demon King until he cried and crawled up a tree. Her gaze fell on the brightly colored gift boxes on Xiang Feng's body. Xiangxia cautiously and carefully chose one. When she opened it, a small card fell out of the box. "Congratulations, you've won another precious lottery ticket. Are you surprised? Are you surprised?" Xiang Feng looked at her proudly, thinking that his idea was really wonderful. It was 100 times better than the play dead plan he had thought of before. Unexpectedly, the girl's face was solemn. When she opened the second box, she was very careful and was ready to escape at any time. Xiang Feng, was Qian Nian a little too forceful? He had left a shadow in little Xiangyi's heart. In the live stream, the audience was amused by the interaction between uncle and niece. Ha ha ha, where's the trust between people? What did little uncle give sister E before? 2333, I'm so immersed in this, I'm starting to get nervous with sister E. The second box was opened. Xiangyi immediately retreated and cautiously observed the contents of the box. It was still a small card, but this time, the content was frowny face. Congratulations, you've won another 5 precious lottery tickets. You're the lucky girl. Xiang Feng, wow. 5 more draws, little Xiangyi is so lucky. Xiangyi, Xiang Feng, was it an illusion? Why did it feel like his little niece didn't really want to draw? Shui chuckled. Excuse me, can a family member draw on your behalf? Xiang Feng glared at him. What kind of family member are you? Xiangyi smiled. Sure, you can draw for me. The man's bony hands slowly opened the gift boxes. +2 lottery tickets, +1 lottery ticket, -3 lottery tickets, Xiangyi? Why is there a reduction? It won't be a negative number in the end? Audience, ha ha ha, you're giving a gift? Xiang Feng. In your eyes, am I such a scam? Am I not the most reliable uncle in the world? Xiangyi didn't say anything, but her eyes said one thing. Doubt. Xiang Feng, oh. Ohei was the one who brought shame upon himself. Shui moved quickly and it didn't take long for him to open all the gift boxes on Xiang Feng's body. They were all small cards. 1 + 5 + 3 + 2 + 1 - 3, Shui glanced at them and got the answer. 21, that's fast. Xiang Feng complained in a low voice. He cleared his throat and said, congratulations, little Xiangyi. You've won a total of 21 lottery tickets. Each ticket can be exchanged for a gift, 21 years old, corresponding to 21 gifts. Xiangyi was stunned. So she had misunderstood her uncle. Xiang Feng said mysteriously, I didn't put a spider this time, I put a little frog. I caught it with my own hands. Ha 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 ha. Shui? Audience? Xiangyi was so moved that she held back her tears. Chapter 856. Spiders and frogs happened to be the 2 creatures that Xiangyi was most afraid of. Xiang Feng, who had watched her grow up, knew this very well. The program crew looked at each other and came to a conclusion. Sure enough, there was a reason for everyone's love and bullying. The livestream viewers couldn't help but laugh. Oh, Xiang Feng, what kind of boss are you? Little frog, Xiang Feng, lonely, does it sound good? Smile, case solved, little uncle's bullying status is well deserved. No one can shake him. Even though her little uncle was indeed a little unreliable, Xiangyi still hugged Xiang Feng. Little uncle, you're so nice. Xiang Feng said matter-of-factly, of course you're good to our little Xiangyi. Our little rabbit is worth it. Xiangyi's little face dimpled as her heart warmed. At this moment, Xiang Feng changed the topic. We've already used spiders and little frogs. What surprise should we prepare for next year? Lizards? Snakes? Little uncle's bad taste was really, Xiangyi sighed helplessly. Forget it. What else can my little uncle do? As long as he was happy. The 3 of them walked towards the living room. Xiang Feng was still showing off his excellent idea, skipping along as he walked when he suddenly heard his little niece whispering to Shui. Except for the little frog, I'll give you half of my gift later. The man chuckled. Thank you, Sister E. Xiang Feng? Why did she dislike his little frog? He was the one who kissed it by the pond. Hand. Grab. Hand. The livestream viewers cheered, yes. What was this? This was a sugar duck. In the living room. Everyone was changing their shoes at the entrance. Xiangyi naturally had her own exclusive bunny ear slippers. Xiang Feng and the other crew members were wearing ordinary gray slippers, but they were all new. As for Shi Sui, she had a pair of disposable slippers. The kind that the hotel gave away for free. Shi Sui didn't mind and calmly changed into them. Xiang Feng elbowed him and gloated, "It's your first time visiting, so it's inevitable that you'll feel wronged." Shi Sui smiled. "Why would I feel wronged? I'm happy that Tutu brought me home." The moment he opened his mouth, the old dragon's well had a strong taste. Xiang Feng, humph. Glib tongue. A cold sneer came from the kitchen. She looked in the direction of the voice to see that Xiang Yin was standing at the entrance of the kitchen with glutinous rice noodles in his hands. Xiangyi's eyes curved with a smile. "Grandpa, are you making red bean cake? I'll do it for you." Xiang Yin glared at him and barked, "Go away, what are you doing?" A new fan in the live stream did not understand the situation and typed on the public screen, "Is Sister E and Grandpa not on good terms? Grandpa is so fierce." I'm almost crying through the screen. In the next second, Xiang Yin said loudly, "We don't have the rule of making girls work." New fans? Sorry to disturb you. The old fans replied calmly, "Young people, just get used to it, get used to it." Shi Sui naturally rolled up her sleeves and said, "Grandpa, let me do it." Xiang Yin sized her up from head to toe. Although he had already accepted her, he still said arrogantly, "You? Can you do it?" The viewers in the live stream were overjoyed and began to race to answer the question. I know how to answer this question. I suggest you all flood the screen with comments. Shi Sui, no. New fans? What? Aren't you all fans? Why are you so anti-fans? The anti-fans have been cornered by you.